All right, I'd love to call to order our board meeting for tonight, October 27th. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, so you can all join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we'll move on to roll call. Let the record show we have our 2 trustees and all 5 trustees in attendance for tonight's meeting. And if there aren't any changes that the board would like to make to the agenda, if I can have a motion.
I move we accept the agenda.
Second.
Okay, moved by Catherine, seconded by Theta. Student trustees.
I approve.
Thank you.
I approve.
Great, and then the board. Okay, by vote to move forward with the agenda as is. So during closed session, the board did take action. The board unanimously 5-0 voted to approve a multi-year compromise agreement with parents of a student to resolve potential and threatened claims against the district in exchange for funding of private services and an alternate program for the student during the 2025, 2026, and 2026 and 2027 school years in the amount not to exceed $27,000. And then we'd like to just make sure we notify the audience that the open session will be audio taped and is being streamed. And that takes us to communications, and we will start with our student board member reports. Claire, if you'd like to go first.
Hello, MVLA board. It has been a great start to the second quarter. Last week, we celebrated our annual STEAM Week, which features a variety of engaging and educational activities. In a recent survey conducted at Mountain View, students highlighted the paper airplane show with its impressive demonstrations and the mango material speaker as top favorites. Other popular events included guest talks from biotechnology professors, a mold day demonstration from sophomore chemistry classes, and lunchtime STEM demonstrations led by different teachers. The week concluded with another successful Spartan Pause, which featured morning snack stations for students, slime making, mini pumpkin decorating, henna, mandala art, and more. Green Team also joined in the week's festivities. Oh,
Sorry.
I was like, whoa. Okay. Green Team also joined in this week's festivities by hosting Walk or Wheel, an event that rewarded students who walked or biked to school with snacks and encouragement. Looking ahead, the next few weeks are equally full of exciting events. ASB will be hosting a trick-or-treat event this Friday, where students can collect candy from participating teachers' classrooms marked with pumpkins on their doors. Next week will also feature the annual volleyball tournament in the large gym, an 8-team competition held during lunch that always draws a crowd. Around campus, winter sports tryouts are beginning, and the MVHS marching band is preparing to compete in the Dublin Marching Band competition. Overall, it has been a wonderful beginning to quarter 2, filled with community spirit, student involvement, and academic engagement. We're looking forward to all that the rest of the quarter will bring. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Any questions or comments from the board? Catherine?
May I ask one? These different Spartan Pause things and these different rallies and everything, this takes an awful lot of your non-academic time.
Yes.
And so I'm really thrilled to hear that everyone's so engaged on campus, that both the parents, teachers, and well, all 3, and the students, to do all this extra for camaraderie and so on. Just wanted to say.
Thank you.
Okay, Lucy?
Good evening, everyone. Here's a quick overview of what's been happening at Los Altos High School this past week. We're currently celebrating ASB's Halloween Spirit Week, with themed dress-up days bringing lots of excitement across campus. The week will wrap up with this Friday with our annual costume contest at lunch, where students and staff can show off their creativity and school spirit. In addition, our Latino Student Union is hosting a vibrant Dia de los Muertos celebration. The event honors cultural traditions with student-created ofrendas, music, and art, bringing together our community to celebrate heritage and remembrance. Meanwhile, ASB is already preparing for the Second Harvest Food Drive, which kicks off next Monday. They're organizing online donations and outreach efforts to support families in need throughout the local area during the upcoming holiday season. Our student community leaders are also hosted the College and Career Awareness Week, giving students valuable opportunities to learn about different post-secondary pathways, financial aid, and future career options through guest speakers and activities. Finally, the Performing Arts Department has concluded auditions for the spring musical, Singing in the Rain. Students are excited to bring this classic production to life, and rehearsals will begin later this semester. It's been a lively and engaging week on campus, and we're all excited for all of the upcoming events. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Any other questions, comments from the board? Yeah.
They're all engaged groups.
Okay, thank you both. All right, so we'll move on to 7.2. If we have any updates from our district organizations, CSEA, DTA?
I was notified that we did. Yep. We have one.
Good evening, and thank you for allotting the time in the agenda, trustees, student trustees, and Superintendent Volta. On behalf of the members of the District Teachers Association, I'm David Campbell, the president. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight and to acknowledge the important and often difficult decisions that you are asked to make, especially on topics as significant as ethnic studies. Our members care deeply about our students and the programs that shape their education. Like you, we want what's best for all students in the district. We also recognize that among educators, there are a range of perspectives about how ethnic studies should move forward. Our role as a union is to represent all of those voices, even when we don't all agree on the exact path ahead. What unites us, however, are our priorities. To keep our educators in classrooms doing the work they love. To ensure that every program and every decision supports the success and well-being of our students. And to maintain a collaborative, respectful process as we navigate change together. We know these conversations are not easy, but we appreciate your continued partnership and your willingness to engage thoughtfully with both staff and community. The District Teachers Association remains committed to working with you to find solutions that reflect our shared values, supporting students, protecting jobs, and sustaining the strong educational community we've built together. Thank you.
That was the only one, right?
And I don't see. Is Carol? No. Okay, so no one from CSEA.
So that takes to 7.3. Any public comment on items not on the agenda?
We have two.
We'll start with Ben Halstead.
Margaret Peterson.
Margaret Peterson? Yes.
Yes.
They're together.
Thank you for your time. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I appreciate you. Superintendent Volta, thank you for allowing me some time. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your time. On October 6th, my daughter, my father, and I met with Kip Glazer, my daughter's varsity volleyball staff, who are also science teachers at MVHS, and the athletic director, Tim Lugo, regarding a highly concerning encounter that occurred between the coaches and my 15-year-old daughter. My daughter had missed a serve in a game the day prior to this incident. So the incident took place on the 23rd of September. And, so my daughter missed a serve in the game the day prior after going in cold. She was embarrassed and humiliated, and she started laughing and made a childish and inappropriate comment to her team as she walked off the court. She was trying to make light of her miss, and she said to her team in jest with a laugh, "I want to quit." Her assistant coach then called her out in front of the team, saying, "This shows you're not ready to play." My daughter went to the sideline and smiled, and further embarrassed, and laughed with her teammates. Unfortunately, the calling out behavior only got worse the next day when the coaches asked my daughter to stay back in front of the whole team because of a highly inappropriate behavioral issue. that they alluded to wanting to remove her from the team for. While this could have been a simple conversation where my daughter's behavior was addressed and she could take accountability and make amends, it was made into something far greater. She was held after practice for more than 5 minutes before I got worried and went into the gym to check on her. The gym door was closed and locked and the lights were out. I looked in the window and saw my child standing in the center of the gym, crying to the point of hyperventilating with her 2 coaches around her. I knocked on the gym door and the assistant coach let me in. We walked into the center of the gym. Both coaches were standing still, attempting to engage her. I had no idea what had happened. And in short, I tried to console my daughter, and the assistant coach continued to try to engage her and stood over me, pointing at me, and firmly told me that I had interrupted her conversation with my daughter and that my child should be speaking for herself. This was no conversation. This was 2 adults telling a 15-year-old girl that she was not wanted on their team, and then the assistant coach chastising a concerned parent for intervening on behalf of her vulnerable child. Conversations require dialogue between parties in a safe environment with support as needed. That is not what happened, and it was not okay. I wrote to Kip Glazer to file a formal complaint about the incident, as it was an abuse of power that involved public humiliation and criticism, isolating my daughter in a locked room with no support or representation, exuding power over her while she was under duress, and using physical body and verbal intimidation to intimidate me into submission while attempting to support my child. After 3 attempts to nail down a meeting time, Kip set a meeting for October 6th. From the time, sorry.
Ben Halstead. From the time we entered the meeting, the blame was placed on my child. She said things like, I have advised my teachers not to treat you differently, and they like you. You can try out again next year. But there was no acknowledgement of what happened in the encounter with my daughter. There was no ownership of their behavior. Instead, she and the head coach blamed my granddaughter for being unready. My granddaughter was the most adult person in that room that day. I was with her. When she admitted she had handled herself poorly, and she made that comment to her team. She apologized for her behavior and said she wanted to apologize to her teammates because that was something that she should not joke about. Again, not one adult other than Mr. Lugo acknowledged that the behavior was inappropriate or tried to make amends. Instead, Kip said she held an informal investigation, yet no statement that she had taken statements from the teachers were made. My granddaughter was never asked to make a statement, and someone responsible for the investigations of somebody responsible for more than 10 years.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you. For someone who's responsible. Yes. Oh.
3 minutes per speaker.
Sorry. Taking statements from your beloved teachers does not equate an investigation. Further, there was no outcome. She also lied when she told me in a phone conversation prior that she had spoken to the head coach, and he said there was no reason for a meeting because I had pulled my daughter off, my granddaughter had been pulled off the team following the incident. When I brought my concern up about lack of care following such emotional encounter, the coach looked like a deer in the headlights. She backtracked and proceeded to push back, saying she never said that when the coach said he met with her. The coach said he never met with her. The meeting continued, and Kip avoided accountability and even went so far as to blame my daughter for how she took it, as if it was her fault. She told us how she believes her staff and how wonderful they are. I said 2 things can be true at the same time. They said they love and respect that she was loved and respected on campus and then acted inappropriate in this situation. When I expressed that she was missing the point, she repeatedly asked what we wanted out of the meeting. And again, what we wanted out of the meeting, I said I wanted acknowledgement for the behavior and accountability and attempt to repair the relationship, as my daughter should not have to walk around the campus feeling anxious and alienated. In summary, we'd like the board to look into this more. Thank you.
Yeah, if you'd also like to send that to the board, you're welcome to. Yeah. You can send it to the board via email. Yeah, thank you. Is there any other?
That's it for me.
So then that takes us to 8.0 or 8.1, the MVLA Spotlight. Who will be presenting?
Nick. Betancourt.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicholas Betancourt. I am one of the assistant principals at Los Altos High School. And on behalf of our principal, Dr. Ranieri, and the entire Los Altos High School community, I'm honored to recognize Sybil Kramer as the MVLA Community Spotlight Award recipient. Sybil is a former Los Altos High School parent, now dedicated alumna, whose vision, energy.
Sybil, if you want to join it up here, yeah.
Sybil's a former Los Altos High School parent, now dedicated alumna, whose vision, energy, and leadership continue to have a positive impact on our school community. At Los Altos, we consider Sybil an educator, someone who teaches and inspires students alongside us. Since first joining the Parent STEM Committee in 2006, while her son was a student at the school, Sybil has been a tireless advocate for sustainability in the MVLA school community. Her son, Michael, thrived at our school through his graduation in 2010, during which time he was awarded Student of the Month by the MVLA School Board. After he graduated, Michael went on to serve in the Peace Corps in Mongolia, a reflection of the family's value for public service. That same commitment to public service has defined Sybil's own work within our district and community. Above all, Sybil is a master at making meaningful community connections that turn great ideas into action and results. Her persistence and passion motivate us all to take better care of our local environment and therefore the planet. She recognizes that schools consume resources and generate waste, but through her dedication, the MVLA and Los Altos community have become a model of sustainability, leading in water and energy conservation, waste reduction, recycling, and pollution prevention. Sybil's care for our local community and school manifests in practical efforts to ensure we're taking every step possible toward responsible stewardship. Over the years, Sybil has served on the PTSA Sustainability Committee under 4 superintendents and has built remarkable partnerships to advance green initiatives for MVLA. For example, Sybil was instrumental in securing EV chargers by leveraging her connection with the CEO of PowerFlex, which also provided battery storage that helped reduce electricity costs district-wide. She championed environmentally friendly practices, such as replacing styrofoam trays with cardboard and using compostable wooden utensils to replace over 1,000 daily single-use plastic utensils at Los Altos alone. Most recently, she donated 5,000 wooden utensils to LAHS for ASB's Club Day. In 2010, Sybil encouraged LAHS to apply to the Bay Area Green Business Program and help the school make practical changes such as using recycled copy paper and ink cartridges to secure that certification and honor. In 2023, Los Altos High was honored by the California Department of Education as part of the Northern California Green Ribbon School Tour. Sybil presented information about our EV chargers with the visiting federal and state agency officials, national, state, and local legislators, elected officials, and other key community partners. Sybil's advocacy has also included walking precincts in support of bond measures that funded the 900 building, rooftop solar, and solar canopies. Last year, she played a pivotal role in preserving trees in front of our student services building. Sybil also continues to serve as liaison to Green Team, LHS's student-led sustainability club. In that role, she inspires and mentors students to lead environmental and sustainability initiatives of their own on a campus. In closing, Sybil reminds us of the power one person has to spark meaningful change and leave a lasting legacy. Our district's fortunate to have someone who cares so deeply about the community and is willing to do the hard work in partnership with us. So, please join me in congratulating Sybil. I believe she wanted to say a few words if we.
Of course, yeah. So a few words often wind up being more than a few. Can you hear me?
I think Principal Ranieri is listening on the stream, so I want to thank her. And I want to thank you, Mr. Betancourt, for your kind words. I am humbled and honored beyond measure to hear these words of recognition. But I think you know that any team player, even a star team athlete, cannot win the game by himself or herself. It takes a team to accomplish great things, not just good things, but great things. And we're lucky in this district to have a great team available. So, but before I talk about the green team, first I want to thank my husband, Steve Kramer, for his constant love and support. The things I do. I want to thank my son, Michael, for putting my feet on this path, because when Michael was a member of the green team, he asked me to escort speakers to the meeting, right from the, administration office, all the way across campus to where the kids were meeting, and then back again. And then the next speaker brought them to the meeting. And I've been going to green team meetings ever since. And I feel very fortunate because, these students inspire me. They give me the energy to do things that you've heard about from Mr. Betancourt. And so some of them are here tonight. Luke Byrne and Linnea Forslund are the co-presidents of the Green Team. Zoe is the secretary for the Green Team. Sahana couldn't make it, I guess, but Sahana is with us in spirit, the vice president. In addition, Zoe now has inherited the role of administering the spreadsheet for the reusable items. So Mr. Miyahara, another assistant principal at Los Altos High School, provided seven lockers. And so there are metal utensils, reusable cups, pitchers, tablecloths, and Zoe has a spreadsheet. Team parents sign up and they say, okay, I want this many on this such and such a day. Zoe gives them the combination. It's almost too simple, right? Parent takes all the stuff, they have the banquet, parent washes all the stuff, puts it back in the wall. Thank you, Zoe. Zoe Allen. And I think you guys have a beach cleanup this coming weekend, right? All right, they never stop. They're a constant source of inspiration and my unending admiration. Also, this recognition award belongs to the parents, past and present, of the PTSA Sustainability Committee. And the past co-president, Laura Largi, is here. She biked here. Luke biked here tonight. Did you bike? Oh, you carpool. Also, we have Leslie Alnick behind me, who's the present co-chair of the PTSA, Caroline Horn, Silicon Valley Bike Coalition and alumna parent. And did you bike here tonight? And Tracy Faria also, who's been instrumental. Tracy came with me when I guess it was the principal invited us to speak to the heads of departments, because the lab assistant in the science department at Los Altos High School had discovered refillable whiteboard markers. Refillable, and they're made out of 91% recycled plastic. And so Tracy and I went to talk to heads of departments to say, see, this is so easy. Get rid of all those things that you've been throwing away for years and years and refill these. So you can see I'm pretty much the liaison, the connector. And so it was mentioned by Mr. Betancourt about the battery storage units. So past Superintendent Barry Groves paid for my registration, jumped on the train, went to a Green Schools conference just for one panel. And the title was Free EV Charging for Your School at No Cost to the District. We'd rather see that money be spent on opportunities for students and education. And so I took the speaker from the local company in Santa Clara, was it Green Charge Networks? Steve Kelly, and I introduced him to Mike. And then Mike did all the rest. I'm just the connector, the facilitator. And that was a lot of work, but we got these both campuses, refrigerator side battery storage units. And we got 4 ports for charging electric vehicles, but then we had 6 teachers and staff commuting in clean air vehicles to campus. So, George, yeah, I met the Caltech CTO of a CTO and CEO of a small EV charging company on First Street in Los Altos. Said, you gotta meet Mike Matheson. And again, tip of the hat to Mike, he took over. Each school has 29 EV charging stations, but I think we have many more of the teachers and staff now, so we have to talk to George some more. I think Thursday at 1:30. I told you I was a
Alright.
triple Gemini. So getting rid of those
Okay.
1,000 plastic utensils every day got thrown away. And I have to salute Brian Barnhart, the current Director of Food Services and Nutrition. We talked about it and we gave him a sample. PTSA Sustainability Committee paid for a sample of wooden utensils, bamboo utensils. And he's talked to a supplier, got them at low cost, and now we have no more plastic. You never have to put another plastic cloth in your mouth again on campus. So I also want to thank you, the members of the board, and for always putting students first. And really, sustainability is part of their health and welfare. They have the opportunity to get an excellent education, but they also have the opportunity to be well-rounded students and to inherit a planet that's hopefully cleaner and more sustainable than what we made it. I know you on the board, past board members have been champions of climate change. Remember Phil Fillais and Debbie Torak, Fiona Walter is still helping students but through the League of Women Voters. And of course, Catherine. And so, and I think the last time I saw you was at Los Altos High School at the Advanced Student Investigators, their big poster session. It was always wonderful to see you on campus, and the students appreciate it too, knowing that you're there. And Thea, I see you at the PTSA meeting, so thanks, because that's a great channel of communication and connection. So, you know, we're all connected here. I hope you, Alex and Vadim and Esmeralda, I hope we'll see you on campus at Los Altos High School, maybe at an event or maybe at a PTSA meeting. So thank you for carrying on the legacy of the past. Our Green Ribbon School certification was earned by the efforts of students and staff and facilities managers. I mean, I can't name everybody or we'll be here till midnight, but just know that it takes a village, right? We have a great team and we're doing great things. So thanks to you and Mike and Superintendent Volta, Elvis Lopez in the district office. I mean, there are a lot of people who are supporting these efforts. So I hope we can rely on your votes and your consideration in the future to support sustainability actions for both campuses. So we're a family and we move forward as a family. And so you see, I'm happy, I'm very proud to be a small part of the green team and the parent green team of Los Altos High School. Thank you for your time.
Sybil, and just if we can have Sybil, your family up, we'll take a quick picture.
Well,
Yeah.
team and the parents come up too. Caroline, no, come on. Yeah. All right. Oh, I got a lot. All right. Thanks. Oh, I should keep my name. On the pen.
All right, so we'll continue along our board agenda. And we'll move on to maybe something a little less exciting, but we'll move on to the consolidated agenda. Are there any items the board would like to pull or discuss or any questions? Yeah, Catherine.
I had one question. And the employee assistance, what percentage of our employees actually use the employee assistance? And how many years have we been associated with this group?
William, can you answer those questions?
Not 100% sure when it started, but I'd say probably at least 3, maybe 4 years.
Mhm.
This last year, we've had 6% of our staff access the live support. And then roughly 20% of the staff, or the numbers wise, 20% access the online materials.
Just curious.
I move that we approve the consolidated agenda as stated, 9.1 to
9.8.
9.8.
Okay, moved by Catherine,
I second.
seconded by Alex. Student board members.
I approve.
I approve.
Okay, thank you. Board, all in favor? Aye. 5-0 to move on our consolidated agenda. And so now that takes us to our public hearing, 11.1, the Sunshine Agreement for 2025-2026 contract reopeners. I'm gonna open the public hearing and see if there's any discussion or any comments.
Leila, if you don't mind introducing the Sunshine document.
Sure. Thank you. Sorry, couldn't hear out there in the lobby. So we are sunshining our DTA and district joint sunshine document. So this was the hearing. This is what we are planning to discuss at the 2025-26 negotiation sessions. And so they're all here for reference. We're going to be discussing compensation, aggressive discipline. Could you keep this going? Class sizes, as well as our bell schedule. And we have just done a community survey regarding the bell schedule that we hope everyone's participating in. And then we have some language cleanup and maintenance items that we have listed below.
Okay. Any? Oh, I'm going to open the public hearing now. I'm sorry. And so now we'll hear if there's any comments, any discussion from the board, from the public. Okay, if there's nothing, then I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you, Layla. And open up our regular, right? Open meeting. And so that will take us now to 12.1, which is to take action on this. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I move that we approve the Sunshine agreement for the 2025-26 contract reopeners for DTA.
Second. Okay, moved by Catherine, seconded by Theta. Student board members
I approve.
I approve.
and the board all in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Okay, so 5-0 approved to move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. That takes us to 12.2. Is there a introduction for this?
We're asking the board to elect 2 new parent members to the Community Advisory Committee with the Northwest County SELPA. Both of these parents currently have students in our schools. These parents' names were brought to Director of Special Services, Jennifer Smith, from the PTSAs, and she did a great job trying to seek out and recruit new blood for the CAC. Recommendation is to approve.
I move that the board appoints Laura Gill and Mackenzie Gallego as district representatives to the Northwest SELPA CAC for 1 year, 2025 to 2026.
I second that.
Okay, moved by Theta, seconded by Catherine. Student board members.
I approve.
I approve.
Thank you. Board all in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Okay. So we'll move forward 5-0 with these new members. Okay, so that takes us to 12.3, ethnic studies. And looks like we have a fair amount of you. Okay. So is there any introduction you want to do, or do we hear first our public?
No, I think it's clear that why we have saying anything.
That's my son and need my emergency contact ticket.
We're gonna get right into the public.
We're going to start with Sophia Caramago.
It's an ethnic studies miracle. Hello, good evening. How are you? I'm exhausted. I'm on like my 13th hour today. I'm here because I became a teacher and pledged myself to my students. I put myself after them. That holds true for an earthquake and an active shooter. And of course, it also applies in the classroom. Ethnic studies is good for students. That's not just my professional opinion of almost 30 years of teaching. The data speaks for itself. State test scores are up. AP classes are up. AP pass rates are up, not just in social studies, but across the board. What students are learning in ethnic studies transfers to the rest of their academic career, making them more successful overall. Just last week, we were named the best school district in the Bay Area, second in the state. I believe ethnic studies laid the foundation for this success. So I'm here, standing with the 20 Latino parents who sent you letters, standing with the students who have come and spoken with you, standing with the teachers who are now going to drive home for over an hour in the middle of the night because they felt so passionately about protecting our students, about protecting our school district and its success that we had to speak to you in the hope that our voices would compel you to support this class. And so I ask you to allow ethnic studies to continue the way it is a full year. It's doing exactly what you asked us to make it do, to make our students more successful. I have so much care for my students and for this district, and I couldn't remain quiet when I felt that way. Thank you.
Next, we have Kevin Heiken.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Heiken. I'm a social studies teacher at Mountain View High School. I was one of the co-creators of our ethnic studies program, but I'm actually here speaking from the perspective of our AP European History course team lead, which is actually a hat that I've worn for longer in our district. And I wanted to speak here tonight in favor of a year-long 9th grade social studies experience and maintaining the current 40 credits of social studies overall. As my colleague pointed out, MVLA was recently named the best school district in the Bay Area and the second best overall in California by a notable national publication. And our ranking in this stems in part from receiving A+ marks in academic quality, teacher quality of instruction, and college preparedness. Our current 40 credits of social studies offerings plays a key role in contributing to this rigorous academic experience, with the full 9th grade year of social studies being part of a long-standing social studies ecosystem that has fostered academic excellence in the social sciences at MVLA. While arguments have been made to the effect that MVLA requires more social studies credits in the 9th grade year than is required by the state or other comparable schools, the number of students enrolled in AP social studies courses during the sophomore year and the number of sophomore AP courses offered significantly exceed comparable schools and thus makes us unique among comparable schools. It's not just the level of academic success that sets us apart, however, it's also who is achieving it. In 2015, Mountain View High School in particular received the Gold Ribbon School Award from the state of California explicitly for our phenomenal work in closing the achievement gap among underrepresented racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic groups in AP courses. Social studies courses played an absolutely crucial role in this, with Mountain View AP history teachers explicitly recognized at the state awards ceremony in San Francisco. Sophomore AP teachers have stated time and time again how crucial it is to have a full year of skill building freshman year to appropriately prepare students for rigorous academic writing and assessment standards in AP. Students enrolling in only one semester of social studies freshman year prior to engaging in their most rigorous social studies experience yet, in the form of a sophomore AP class, is the equivalent of a runner taking a half-year break from running before doing their first marathon. Yes, MVLA offers more social studies than the state of California requires. However, MVLA's AP pass rates considerably outpace both state and national averages, as do MVLA's rankings as a district overall. This difference is something to be celebrated. On an aside, the creation of 9th grade ethnic studies in MVLA has been very powerful and a very fulfilling experience, but it's also been a very disruptive one. Social studies teachers needed to recreate from scratch in a very short amount of time all the structures of AP vertical alignment that had taken over a decade to build in 9th grade world studies. This process is still ongoing, and replacing or significantly altering ethnic studies will once again require social studies teachers to start over in this process, significantly disrupting the iterative refinement that is currently being made. So with that, thank you. Have a good evening.
Next, we have Marta Heiken.
Hello, good evening, trustees. My name is Marta Sokovich-Heiken, and I'm here to urge the board to keep ethnic studies as a year-long course for our 9th graders at MVLA. Last year, the district conducted a survey for our 9th and 10th graders about their ethnic studies experience. I've heard some people try to selectively use the survey results to question the course's value or to make us feel shame, but as a teacher, I was deeply grateful for every detail of that feedback. Like we teach our students, feedback is not something to fear. It's how we grow and improve. The cycle of inquiry or iterative process, as my colleagues have mentioned, has always guided our best work in the MVLA social studies departments. We reflect, revise, and strengthen our practice. The Hanover study gave us exactly the kind of guidance we need for intentional improvement, clear recommendations to build on what's working and make adjustments where needed. The study did not recommend cutting the course in half. It recommended continuing to develop and refine it, examining rigor, deepening community connections, gathering teacher input, and monitoring progress over time. In fact, the data showed that most students viewed their ethnic studies experiences positively, comparable to or even stronger than long-established English courses in areas like collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. That's a remarkable result, considering the course is still in its very early years and a testament to our teachers' dedication and our students' engagement. Our ninth graders last year already showed more positive perceptions than the year before, which proves this process of reflection and revision is working. But that growth can only continue if the course itself continues. I urge you to follow Hanover's advice and keep the ethnic studies course year-long so we can keep refining it and building the foundation our students need for their 10th grade social studies course choices and beyond. Please do not cut short a program that is already helping students think critically, connect across differences, and build community, and let's give it the time it deserves to reach its full potential. And since I have a few moments left, I wanted to extend an open invitation for any trustee if you would ever like to observe an ethnic studies course throughout the next couple of years or this year. My door is open. I am happy to have you come in. You don't even have to tell me ahead of time. I have nothing to hide, and I'm happy to host you and talk to you and address concerns or answer questions. So thank you very much for your time.
Next, we have Deborah Strickhartz.
Hi, I'm Deborah Strickhartz. I'm a community member, and my daughters are Mountain View Los Altos alumni. I'm here on behalf of speaking as an individual, but I'm also a member of Democrats for Public Education, North County Citizens Work Group, and Collective for Inclusive Education. I'm here tonight to urge you to continue offering ethnic studies as a full year course. Ethnic studies is not an extra or distraction from academic rigor. It is rigor. It teaches students to think critically about history, identify, and systems of power, skills that are essential to any advanced academic work, including AP courses. When we talk about preparing students for AP, what we really mean is preparing them to analyze, evaluate multiple perspectives, write persuasively, and make evidence-based arguments. These are exactly the skills that ethnic studies develops, often for students who might not otherwise see themselves reflected or empowered in traditional history classes. Claims that ethnic studies lacks rigor, as we heard specifically at our last meeting, are simply not supported by the evidence. In fact, research from Stanford University and other districts in California has shown that students who take ethnic studies have higher attendance, improved GPAs, and increased graduation and college enrollment rate. Finally, this is about our values as a district. We want our schools to prepare students not only for exams, but for citizenship and a diverse democracy. Ethnic studies helps them do that by fostering empathy, curiosity, and critical thinking about the world they live in. Please keep ethnic studies a one-year course. It's a commitment to academic excellence. Thank you.
Next, we have Maureen Griffin.
Hello. I have 3 points I want to cover with you in my 30 minutes. Just kidding, 3 minutes. I support mandatory ethnic studies at MVLA. I am puzzled. 3, retain the current ethnic studies course as a one-year graduation course. I was born and raised in Revit City with my parents born and raised on farms in Ireland and immigrated here in their late 20s. And yes, they became American citizens. I went to 12 years of Catholic school, graduating from St. Francis High School. My husband and I chose to send our twin daughters to K-12 public schools here in Los Altos so that they would get the diversity of different races, ethnic backgrounds, and religions, which I did not get going to a white Catholic schools. I know you know this, but I want to state it for everybody here. Demographics from 2023-24 MVLA school district website shows out of 4,400 students, 33% are white, 67.2% with 28% Asian, Hispanic or Latino, 26%, 2 or more ethnic backgrounds, 10%, Filipino 2, African American 1.1, Filipino Islander 0.4%, American Indian, Native Alaskan 0.2%. Our students deserve and need to learn about races, ethnic backgrounds other than white, which is what our public schools and private schools have been doing here since 1901. My puzzlement, if you don't vote to support ethnic studies, then why did you take your job? You Board of Trustees are obligated to represent all students, not just 33% of your student base, white students. In addition, on the California Board of Education website is your vision, and it ends with contribute to civic and economic progress in our diverse and changing democratic society. In closing, I support mandatory ethnic studies and MVLA. Thank you.
Next, we have Carl Kramer.
Good evening. I'm also with the Democrats for Public Education. And I want to congratulate you on being designated the best high school district in Northern California. It's really an accomplishment. And when I looked at the numbers that you can see for the data for student achievement, it's amazing. 67% or 2/3 of your incoming freshmen are taking 1 year up in math. They're actually taking sophomore year math. Nearly 40% are 2 years ahead in math. And you actually 3% or 1 in 30 students are taking senior level trigonometry or calculus as freshmen. I mean, that's just an amazing achievement. Your average SAT score is 1360 to 1380. That's average. Your average ACT is 30 to 31. Those are just amazing accomplishments. They're also something that can easily seduce you into an arms race of academic achievement data and take you away from thinking about your overall mission. And as my friend Maureen pointed out, your vision is to have your graduates be civic-minded, ethical, interested, curious folks who are going to live in a diverse society. And I know that because that is what your vision statement says, and I'm going to read it in total. We value an equitable and collaborative learning environment in which students and staff respect the diversity of our society. We value the intellectual, emotional, and physical well-being of our community. We are committed to empowering lifelong learners who can think critically, solve problems creatively, and participate ethically at the high school and in our greater democratic society. And I hope you take that vision seriously and keep ethnic studies as a full year course to give it the seriousness that it really deserves. Thank you.
Next is Cindy Sedaris, and then after Cindy will be Thomas Marking.
I'm a parent of Los Altos High School graduates, and I wanted to kind of reiterate from my letter that I sent to you. Let our teachers, our talented and educated teachers, the experts, improve the current ethnic studies class in the 1-year format. This retains the investment the district made over the course development and staff training, and that investment was not insignificant. The district needs to make fiscally responsible decisions. Redesigning the current ethnic studies class and the 9th grade history class or another social studies class or more to be one semester classes would be expensive in staff time and open the ethnic studies class framework and curriculum to extensive community input again. Do not set a dangerous precedent by overturning recently established board policy when new trustees join the board. Our students benefit from 2 full-year classes of heterogeneous student population in those classes. And our community benefits from our students taking the full year of ethnic studies. As Trustee Corns pointed out in a question in that survey about did students think the class should be 1 year or 1 semester? And the result was more students thought it should be 1 semester. But that question was not validated with a similar question about the English class. So I view that little piece of data as quite flawed. I thank you for your time. I hope you retain a 1-year class for ethnic studies.
Thomas Morgan. After Thomas, we'll have Anastasia Espinoza.
My wife and I have lived in this district for over 25 years. We became part of this community as our daughter, who is now a senior at Mountain View High, grew up. Perception or reality, 1 semester of ethnic studies relegates it to the children's table. Perception or reality, 1 semester of ethnic studies disregards the advice of teachers and department heads. MVLA is an award-winning school district. We have amazing teachers, amazing staff and administration. My wife and I have proudly seen our daughter fill up her bingo card of AP classes. She got 11. We hear some parents have students with 12 or 13. Is it possible that some kids took 14 or more AP classes? I want to be clear. Parents have every right to push this district to provide rigorous academic pathways for their children. They also have a greater right to push their kids academically. However, that excellence is built on a foundation nurtured by our community. We all built the stage that propels all of these young adults. We as a community will support each and every high-achieving student. However, that success does not come in a vacuum. 1 year of ethnic studies, upon the advice of our professional teachers, to bring first-year students together and teach them the analytical tools they will use the rest of their lives, is part of that award-winning stage. Best practices around mental health sensitivity, inclusive values, critical thinking, and addressing the needs of all of our students and their families is not indoctrination. They are, in fact, pillars of that stage. Finally, ethnic studies is not and cannot be anti-Semitic. Just this month, an American flag with a swastika was displayed in the office of a congressional representative. Not a care in the world. Ethnic studies would discuss this horrific act in the context of oppression to Jews and draw parallels to other communities. Ethnic studies would also teach about the resilience of Jewish Americans, a community that has been a thought partner, leader, and has bled for desegregation, civil rights, education reform, and countless issues that make us a better society. This is why so many community members are here asking that ethnic studies not be shortchanged. Thank you.
Okay, next is Anastasia Espinoza, and after that, we'll have Julie Yick.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anastasia Espinoza Grunina, and my freshman year, I took ethnic studies taught by one of the most passionate and informed and outstanding teachers I know, Dr. Yick. Right now, we are living during a time where our future rests uncertain. If there is one thing amidst all this that holds the true power to shape our knowledge to create the future upstanding citizens, it is education by all means. As a first-generation daughter of 2 immigrant parents, one from Mexico, one from Ukraine, I rarely learned about the people that celebrated the same holidays as me, that ate the same food as I do. had the same principles, and had the same looks as me. But we all are a part of history. You just have to zoom in to see it. The United States is a melting pot, not a salad bowl. We are individuals, but we are united. Our identities are fluid. They are never one thing or another. Yet the one thing we all can agree on is our shared interest to prioritize learning. I'm sure that so many of you in this room will recall the joy of your children coming home one day from school asking you, "Mom, what was it like when you came to America?" Or, "Dad, what is one value you keep to that is from your culture?" Because they then were able to ask themselves, what makes me who I am? Who makes me who I am? And what is my story? I didn't know that I was an Ashkenazi Jew. I didn't know that my grandfather was part of the Bracero program. I didn't know that part of my story had already been written for me here. And being the first of my family to be born here, that means more than you can ever imagine. I didn't know how far we've all come and how much we have achieved. Tell me, how would I go on through high school and later on throughout life in the real world without knowing so much? It's one thing to hear about something on the news, but a whole other to actually get up and do something about it, talk about it. But that takes time. That's why I believe in keeping ethnic studies to a year-long course. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Julie Yick, and after Julie, Mark Balch.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Superintendent Volta. My name is Dr. Julie Yick, and I'm one of the Ethnic Studies teacher leaders at MVLA. I've taught social studies here since 2012, and I also work part-time at Stanford University and the College of Education. Tonight, I'd like to share two main points. One, why our year-long ethnic studies class is essential, and two, how we're building on our strengths and working on areas for growth. As I emphasized during our last board meeting, our year-long ethnic studies class prepares students to strengthen the essential academic skills of critical thinking, reading, writing, and public speaking. If we eliminate an entire semester of ethnic studies, students will be less academically prepared for their future college prep and AP courses. This class teaches students to listen to diverse perspectives, engage in academic discussions with peers from a wide range of backgrounds and beliefs, and develop a deeper understanding of the diverse cultures, histories, and contributions of people throughout history and today. It's important to have a course that equips students with the knowledge and skills to participate in our global, multicultural society. Now more than ever, we must help students to become informed and empathetic citizens with strong critical thinking skills that are essential to strengthening our democracy. Secondly, the teachers, many of whom are here tonight, are working hard to build on our strengths, address areas for growth, and improve. This is a natural part of course development and teaching, especially with a new class. Currently, we're working on developing more robust, rigorous, and aligned academic writing instruction and assignments. We're also working on strengthening and aligning assessments to support a smoother transition for students into their sophomore AP courses. I'd like to thank each and every member of the board and the superintendent, including Trustee Vonnegut, who has talked often about the process of iterative refinement. We're dedicated to continually improving this class. I also want to thank the board for investing in the Hanover Institute Student Survey about their experiences. The detailed data it provides is very useful, and we'd like to follow the top recommendations from the Hanover Student Survey. One recommendation is that the district should continue to monitor the course and gather longitudinal data to examine strengths and areas for growth. By continuing our year-long class, we'll be able to gather more data about student outcomes, including AP and SBAC scores, graduation rates, and other metrics. Finally, I've seen students from many backgrounds learn and grow in our classes. On a personal note, one of my inspirations for teaching ethnic studies relates to my experience as a Chinese Irish American and granddaughter of immigrants. My grandma moved to the US as a girl, and when I was in school, I learned almost nothing about the history of Chinese and Chinese Americans. Many students tell me the same, and now we have the opportunity to teach them about this and other communities of color. I hope you'll continue to support ethnic studies as a year-long class and vote to maintain the course. Thank you for your leadership and dedication to the community.
Okay. Next is Mark Balch. And after Mark, we'll have Ileana Teki.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Mark Balch. Thank you for this opportunity to discuss the future of ethnic studies in our district. I'm a longtime district resident since 2004, with one child currently enrolled at Mountain View High School and 2 graduates. The September 19th issue of the Mountain View Oracle newspaper featured a front page article on student impressions of the ethnic studies curriculum. A junior was quoted, "I don't think I've talked to a single person who was like, yeah, ethnic studies was a really good experience for me and I learned a lot." A sophomore said, "My teacher would make us read an article and then restate one of the sentences. She just made us do that over and over again, and it was not rewarding at all." We have a neighbor across the street who we've known since they were born. He told us the same thing earlier today. This is what has bumped comprehensive world history and other history classes and language classes by consuming a full year of student time. It has created so much warranted concern among parents and students in our community in recent years. Following innumerable testimonies and conversations for so long, we are witnessing real student feedback and our concerns playing out. This is not conjecture, speculation, or bias. It is students speaking in their own words with other students. In light of the state declining to fund ethnic studies in the budget, the original legislative call for a single semester of ethnic studies, the years of community concern, and now student feedback, I implore this body to relax the impact of 2 semesters worth of student time and effort and energy. The responsible thing to do is to offer a single semester, monitor, adjust, and take gradual steps to ensure our students can focus their limited time on time-tested history and language courses they deserve to prepare for their adult lives. Please move to a single semester ethnic studies offering in line with the original legislative call and stop the 2 semesters above and beyond experiment. Thank you for your consideration and support of our students.
Okay. After Ileana Teki, we'll have Kiyoshi Taylor.
Hello, my name is Eliana Tekie, and I am a sophomore here at Mountain View High School. As one of the few Black students here at the school and in this district, this class was very important for me. Since 5th grade, one of the only examples of seeing myself and my history has been slavery. Despite Africa being one of the biggest continents, we have only learned about the issues of the transatlantic slavery. In ethnic studies, we have learned about Afrofuturism, we have learned about Black struggles in America, and we have learned about many other issues that I have experienced in school today. I still remember how at the start of every block period, my teacher, Mr. Hyken, would have us ask about questions in the world today. I learned about my Hispanic, Asian, and Jewish counterparts in a way that helped me to understand them and their history. May I ask, what is the point of a history class if not to educate us about each other, to create more empathetic students? We need ethnic studies because ethnic history is just as important as white history. Thank you.
After Kiyoshi, we'll have Keenan Moose.
What's up, y'all? Happy Monday, if that's the thing. First thing I want to say is 12 years? Really? Or 2012? Crazy. Amazing. Way to go, doctor. So I want to speak on behalf of I kind of want to finish what we started. In 2020, I worked with so many different people in this community, and we signed a petition where almost 1,000 people from this community signed the petition saying we want ethnic studies. And they fought tooth and nail along the way to make sure this happened. I was on many of the board meetings and many of the private they've brought us in to actually tell us, like, what do you want to see? What was not represented when you went to school? And I'm gonna be honest, like, I would have done anything to take in a course like ethnic studies. And that's the reason why so many kids wanted it. It's because they didn't feel seen. They didn't feel represented in their own communities. And I can say firsthand the amount of times kids just would say the most outlandish things to me, like, oh, you don't talk like you're Black, even though I went to the same schools as them. Oh, you don't act Black. And that's because they never understood what it meant to be Black. They didn't understand what it meant to be more than just what they saw in the media, right? And I'm gonna be so for real. The kids that were the problems were the ones who didn't care about any of this kind of thing, right? The kids that called me the N-word in your guys' school district are the same ones that will do it today if you guys get rid of this course, ethnic studies. It's been a long time coming. We finally have something in this very, let's be real, white society that we live in Los Altos, where we're actually able to show our culture, be prideful in who we are, and actually feel represented, right? And the course shows you it's working because these kids are coming back and speaking to you. They're pleading to keep this course. And that's because they care, and that's because they actually feel connected to this. I mean, there's a reason why the kids are here and the people against it, the parents are here, right? It's because the kids actually know what's good. They actually feel the impact it's making on their campuses. I can make up stories all I want, but the kids will tell you the truth, and they have been continuously. Do not let them down. Like so many other generations that were Black and brown in this area have been let down. Because I can tell you this district let me down. And that's why I started an organization, and that's why I continue to come back here and fight to make sure no one else ends up the way I did. Disrespected, disregarded. Don't do that to your kids. Don't bury our history. Thank you.
After Keenan, we'll have Guy.
Good evening, y'all. I guess we're back again. Similarly, spent a lot of years from 2020 on, and a lot of actually one of the projects we did was interviewing previous students of their own experiences. What was it like going through these districts? And story after story was people who felt that they weren't seen and that were hurt daily because of the jokes that other people would make, because of the language that other people would use, and because of the disregard that they saw within their classrooms. Myself, being part Caribbean and Jewish, my grandfather actually was fortunate enough to escape the Holocaust. He was smuggled out in the back of a car. And it's only because of the stories that I'm told at home that I had any idea about anti-Semitism. And I had any idea about the different impacts that were happening outside of directly experiencing it at school, in your guys' district. From people doing the Zikhiles at me, from people making jokes at it constantly, where not a single class talked about any component of that. But finally, you have a class that does. You have a class that challenges students to think differently, challenges students to see each other. Something that is so important in addition to all the really important STEM and AP and difficult other classes, this is one as well. Students need to learn how to think differently, think for themselves, learn how to discuss these different topics. They're coming here to speak to you as well. I really hope you guys take that time to think about what your role is and who you're serving. It's not a few angry parents who show up because they want their kids to have additional, more challenging classes. Because yeah, those kids, a lot of them are the ones who are the problem. The ones that say this class is too easy is because they're not putting the time in to think about it, not putting the time in to understand, here's the impact that I'm having. And I know that as someone who experienced that firsthand day after day after day, not just from kids, but from parents as well, who would make jokes about, oh, I'm not Black enough because I look this way, or I'll just call you Dr. J because you have an afro, so that's probably like the best name for you. Or my Snapchat name to this day being Tyrone, because a few other kids when I made my account thought it'd be funny because Tyrone was just the name that my class called me. My name's Keenan. It was time after time that I was praying for a class that would allow me to learn about my culture, learn about other cultures, that I could have the self-esteem and self-dignity from what I learned to be able to continue on. You have that class here today. Keep it as a full year requirement for these students. Force them to have these important conversations where they learn about others, they learn about empathy, they learn about critical thinking, and they start to see each other as the people we are, much more than what's on the surface. Thank you for your time, and I really, really hope You see us, you see the students, you see the people who are begging for this class to continue, and we continue to build a beautiful community. Thank you.
Okay, after Guy, we'll have Marina Dungan or Jargon.
Good evening. A lot of people today talked about whether we need ethnic studies and how long it should be. But honestly, I want to step away from that and focus on something much more important, which is what's actually being taught in the classroom. Let me say this up front. It's not just your right as school board members, it's your duty to regulate, to watch over, and to enforce what gets taught. The superintendent and the staff all work for you. And they have to answer to you and nobody else. So far, I have to say your oversight has not been sufficient. We know that racist and discriminatory material has made its way into the curriculum, but here's something even more troubling. The curriculum isn't even the same across the district. Every teacher is doing their own thing. So how can anyone honestly say they approve the curriculum? I would ask you, which one of the curriculums did you approve for that 1 semester or 2 semesters? You don't know. I don't know. No one knows. This is a district with some of the highest paid teachers in California. You would think that with that kind of paycheck, our teachers would know the Constitution, how the Constitution actually works, but instead, some are waving around the First Amendment like get out of jail free card to try to sneak things past parents. Let me be clear, when teachers are standing in front of a classroom, they're not just speaking for themselves, they're speaking for the district. And the Supreme Court said in Garcetti versus Ceballos that when public employees speak as part of their job, they don't have First Amendment protection for their speech. So the argument that limiting teacher speech violates First Amendment is just flat out wrong. If it weren't, then chaos would rule. Every teacher would say whatever personal opinions they want, and parents would have no idea what their kids are learning. That's not how schools work. We have rules for a reason. And honestly, for a district that pays teachers this well, it's embarrassing to see this level of misunderstanding. Maybe what we really need is a refresher class, not another unfunded semester of ethnic studies, but a real course on American history and constitutional law for some of the educators and administrators. They seem to need it. Thank you.
After Marina, we'll have Allison Rosen.
Hi. So I've been in this community since 2007. I'm a parent of a student who has graduated from Mountain View High School and a student who is going to be incoming into Mountain View High School. So I'm very vested and also familiar with what my graduating student has learned while in high school. So we're one of the only districts, essentially the only one with a 2-semester ethnic studies requirement, and one of the handful of districts that requires it at all. The vast majority of districts have converted it to an elective once funds were not appropriated. I'd like to address some of the points that previous speakers made, that our numbers are doing well. I think attributing that to ethnic studies is a leap of faith. The only way you can attribute these numbers to ethnic studies if you do an A-B comparison and put half kids in world history and half in ethnic studies. And if the ethnic studies kids do better, then yes, you can attribute those numbers to that. Overall, since the pandemic, the numbers across the Bay Area have been improving as far as students' performance. And I think this is just part of that, which we're very happy about. I completely agree that there should be a universal social studies class, as Mr. Hyken mentioned. That has historically been world history. This course helps students be members of a multicultural global society and gives them a very wide lens. The study that was mentioned here, also that sampled the students, never asked the students if the class can be or should be an elective. The students also found this class to be less rigorous than English. My question is, why are we limiting our students' choices? Why are we making the curriculum more restrictive for a class that has no standards, that varies classroom to classroom, that does not have a set curriculum? Let's bring world history back to freshman year to have a universal class and free up space in the curriculum for our learners to pursue electives of their interest. And ethnic studies can very well be one of them. Thank you very much for your time.
After Allison, we'll have Alexander Sadovsky.
So can you hear me? I'm Allison Rosen. I'm a clinical professor affiliated with Stanford. I'm also a licensed clinical psychologist, and I speak as a private citizen and as a parent. So most districts only have one semester of ethnic studies. And it's my understanding that a student could leave this district without in-person health education. They can do it online. And also that they could leave this district without a world history class. And that is deeply troubling. Recently, as a parent, I heard on our college listserv that there was a girl found deceased in her room, and her friends didn't take her to the emergency room. She died of alcohol poisoning. And I thought, my God, I hope my kid learned this in health. Health studies, it's vital because kids talk about very sensitive information and they get practice and depth about life-saving information. So doing this online and doing ethnic studies as a substitute, I think is deeply troubling. And also, I can't imagine not learning about World War I and World War II and leaving high school with that. So I think a well-taught semester-long course is important, but your survey finds that half the students don't learn about their own culture. That's problematic. And also, it's concerning when students are taught that their identity or past discrimination determines their future place in society, regardless of effort. That message is dehumanizing, breeds hopelessness, and undermines resilience. Half of your class find this class is not academically challenging, and I'm glad that you're pursuing making it more rigorous. The studies that suggest that ethnic studies improves academic performance have not been supported. So I would be interested in hearing what specific class research supported that. So you can increase the rigor of this class. As a psychologist, we complete social justice training every 2 years. And the effects of social determinants of health, that is a challenging, important, and rigorous area. I've been studying diversity for many years and making sure it's part of my educational programming that I lead. So I think it's important, but a year-long class taking away from these urgent priorities, I think, is seriously problematic. Thank you.
After Alexander, we'll have Elon Frank.
Good evening. I am a Mountain High parent. My second son has just entered high school. My first son graduated from it. First, I'd like to address the worry expressed that 2 semesters might not be enough time to cover everything adequately. There are almost 200 countries in this world, and probably more ethnicities than that, but let's say there are 200. That's 100 ethnicities per semester to be covered if everyone is treated equally. So that's not a problem that can be solved here. If we do not have enough time to cover everything, even if there were 3 semesters. What is more concerning is that, as some of the previous speakers have said, there is no fixed system to guard the curriculum against the following dangerous elements. First, statements that are not supported by facts. Number 2, omissions, facts that are relevant to the material that is being studied. This should not depend on who specifically is teaching the course, whether it is the excellent teachers like we have today, bad teachers that we have almost never. There should be a fixed system, just like there is the American Constitution, which prescribes the process in which the government can handle law and limits the government in what it cannot do. How susceptible are we to one-sided narratives? May I recall unpleasantly that this course, the implementation of this course did not start well in that respect at all. And so I don't think I need to make any additional arguments to show that there is a tremendous risk of one-sidedness. As I walked into this room today, I saw in attendance political symbols that call for the dismantlement or at least double standards against a legally existing UN member state. I would not have found it appropriate or comfortable to walk in here wearing a message of opposing content. Even this meeting could not be guarded against one-sidedness. And traditionally, history has always been studied, not in terms of ethnicities, because history is made by what people do and how they organize themselves. It has been studied against polities, societies, their actions and results. Thank you.
Should we not do this one? After Elon, we have Guy Reshef. I think we heard from already, just to confirm. Okay, you can go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Elon Frank. I'm a parent of children in the district. One graduated from Los Altos High School and one is there, another one on the way. I want to talk a little bit about ethnic studies and address a little bit of some of the concerning feedback that you all heard today. What I heard was that ethnic studies is important to teach anti-racism. If that is the case, then we not only have to redesign ethnic studies, we have to redesign our entire curriculum. If it takes one class to teach anti-racism, then we have a big problem in this school. We should have math that has inclusive problems. We should have social studies that teaches World War II history so that we stop having swastikas painted on our schools. We should have English that teaches different African American and different Native American literature. All of our schools, our curriculum should be inclusive, diverse, and teach anti-racism. We shouldn't depend on one class that, frankly, from the feedback that I've gotten from students, is a sleep fest. Enough with that. Let's get real academic curriculum. Let's teach anti-racism, but let's do it across the entire curriculum, not in one semester or 2 semesters. Thank you.
I don't know, can we?
Yes, if you want to call a timeout to the public comments to get
I
our
would like
student
to,
board
if
members.
it's okay. Because I would like them to go home and do their homework, but I would also like to hear their input. Because they are student board members before they leave. So even if they have a statement or not, I mean, you don't have to say anything, but.
Yeah, I would just like to say that I appreciate everyone coming here and giving their feedback. A lot of you don't know, but we've actually been here. I think this has probably been going on for 3 or 4 meetings. So I think I've heard like 40 speeches by now about ethnic studies. And so I think what I've heard is that this class is without a doubt like really important for our school community. And I think I think the class is important, but I think maybe going forward, we just need to make sure that all the groups are equally represented and that we take into consideration both public feedback and also student feedback on how we want the class to be and how it actually currently is.
Kind of on the same vein as Claire, I've actually taken this class before. I took it my freshman year, and I understand we were kind of the quote unquote guinea pig class, but I feel like it is an important class that does teach a lot of very valuable topics. But kind of as what our last speaker said, I agree it's not something that only one class can teach. We really need to expand it, not just in one class, but across the whole curriculum. And it is incredibly tough to teach such a diverse world with so many different ethnicities within simply 1 year. I think having it as a 1 year long course would cause a couple of issues, but those could be resolved by just increasing diversity across the board. So I do agree it is an important class, but we should listen to some of the feedback that we've been receiving upon it.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll resume public comment on this. Next, we'll have Tal Shalom, and then after Tal, Eleanor Tamari. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to our concerns. While most parents and students prefer ethnic study to be an elective, I ask the board tonight to at least align with other school districts in our county and make ethnic studies a one-semester class. Consider this fact: Fremont Union, Los Gatos, Saratoga, San Jose, Campbell, East Hill Union, Gilroy, Morgan Hill all offer just elective ethnic studies. Palo Alto, Santa Clara, and Milpitas and Sequoia offer just one semester. None of the top performing high schools in the state require ethnic studies as a year-long course. MVLA is the only district in the county that requires a full ethnic studies course. Students in MVLA are not different from students in other districts across Santa Clara County. They are just as compassionate, capable, and ready to succeed. Their parents instill in them values and beliefs that are meaningful to their families. They do not need an extra semester of ethnic studies to align with specific social justice narrative. What they need are choices, the same choices our other students have, and the freedom to take courses that help them grow academically and personally. Forcing this course on them puts them in disadvantage compared to their peers. Our students already have demanding extracurricular schedules, and their time is valuable and limited. By making ethnic studies a full-year course, students are being pushed to take health online, even though it's one of the most important classes, teaching mental health, substance use, relationship, and consent. Many end up taking it only on their senior year, missing the time when it could truly help them. Meanwhile, ethnic studies cannot be taken online. Why? Ethnic studies is also the only mandate course that does not have a textbook. How can a course be considered rigorous if it relies mainly on YouTube videos? A course without a textbook can certainly be taught in one semester, as it does successfully in other districts. I appreciate the passion of ethnic studies teacher, but where is the same passion for computer science, robotic, health, history? Why are those equally important subjects are not being championed with the same energy? We should celebrate diversity in what students can learn, not limit it. Parents and students have made their voices clear. They want more choices. Let's trust a student without taking away their academic freedom. Please keep ethnic studies as a one-semester course and allow students to choose the elective that will benefit them most. Thank you. And I just want to say that my kids both of them took ethnic study. None of them learned about Jewish identity. I don't know what they are talking about. From their personal view, it was really something that they can learn in a semester. And some things made them really feel uncomfortable. Thank you.
After Eleanor Tamari, we'll have Janine Valadez.
Good evening. My name is Eleanor, and I'm a parent of Los Altos High School students. I would like to start by thanking our teachers and the board for standing by the original commitment you made to continually evaluate and refine the ethnic studies course based on real data and community feedback. Students have spoken honestly about their experience, and most of them, 62%, believe ethnic studies should be a one-semester course. A shorter course will keep the meaningful parts while allowing our students to take other classes that challenge and inspire them academically. The state of California requires 30 credits in social studies, and UC and CSU only require 20, while our district requires 40, twice. At the same time, students must complete 40 credits in math to stay UC and CSU competitive, which already limits the number of electives they can take. That leaves them with a little flexibility to explore courses that match their interest or future goals. Given that the state ethnic studies mandate is no longer being implemented, maintaining such an inflated local requirement no longer makes sense. Please allow our students to experience both academic rigor and the freedom to explore the passion. Thank you.
After Janine, we'll have Ella Malouf.
Sorry. My name is Janine Valadez. I'm a library commissioner for the city of Los Altos, but I'm speaking here in a personal capacity. Requiring ethnic studies for a full year is our opportunity to better prepare our students for the world they will inherit, the world they will shape towards justice. This course cannot be an option. It's an obligation that we must make to our students and our communities. I hear concerns that year-long commitment to ethnic studies will compromise students' preparedness academically, that they'll be at a disadvantage in math or history or AP class count. I say poppycock. I assert that they will be better prepared having invested a year-long course in ethnic studies. Kids struggle in college because they're unprepared for the real world. In college, you're not shielded from differences, whether it's related to demographics, abilities, political discourse, social status, religious diversity, identity, etc. There are no parents around, nor should there be, to navigate success or confidence for their child. If your kid is not prepared for an extremely wide spectrum of experience, navigating both their comforts and their discomforts, their academic achievement will wane and possibly crumble. The better that our schools equip high school students to navigate differences, all these differences I mentioned, the better students and citizens they will be, and in fact, the happier they will be. If they're prodigies in math but cannot navigate a difficult conversation about conflicts in the world news or even in their own dorm, they will suffer and their academic performance will suffer. It's very likely they might suffer mental health and confidence issues without such preparation. Ethnic studies engages students regardless of their race, gender, or culture by making education feel relevant to their own lives and experiences. Ethnic studies is more than just a history or social science class. By defending ethnic studies, we are teaching all high school students to be better prepared to comprehend a larger, relevant context around the rest of the history and social science classes they will take. And even though for those that pursue STEM, curricula, future engineers, biotechies, technologists, such as myself, will be better aware of the role women and people of color will have had in the underlying discoveries foundational to their learning, often excluded from technological study. The course plainly and simply teaches our kids to be culturally literate. We're worried about financial literacy. We're worried about health literacy. We need to be culturally literate, culturally and socially confident, and more culturally self-aware as they navigate college and society. In MVLA, we have a unique responsibility to get this right. I don't want our district to aim for the least common denominator. This is a new course. Our teachers will continue to refine the curriculum as needed. That's their job. That's their passion. Let us move past the political noise and embrace the power of an education for all students. Thank you.
After Ella, we'll have Tony Moose.
Hi, good evening. My name's Ella Malouf. I'm a 2020 graduate from Los Altos High. There's been a lot of discussion about what happens when students are forced to take ethnic studies for a whole year, not much about what happens when they don't get to take it at all. So when I was a Los Altos High student, ethnic studies wasn't mandatory and it wasn't even an elective. Maybe if it was, I wouldn't have spent literally every single 9/11 since I was single digits being screamed at that I was a terrorist from all sides of the room with no one doing anything about it. All around me, students of all ethnicities throughout high school threw around slurs targeting pretty much every single group of students that we had. There were those that perpetuated and those that watched, but no one ever did anything, ever. Nothing changed. You've heard from current students how it feels to be seen for the beauty and history that they hold, something that ethnic studies gave to them, not the district. It seems like it would be fair to assume that anyone complaining that the course load is too easy must already be a top-notch anti-racist, right? Ethnic studies isn't just about learning history. The difficult test isn't in the classroom, matter of fact. It's in the life that the students are supposed to lead and experience. It's about practicing being a better person to the diverse world around them and recognizing what they don't know so that they can try to be a better person throughout the rest of their lives. And no, they're not going to learn about every single person. The goal is that they get a taste of it and they learn that they're supposed to keep learning about people around them. If a student believes they know everything there is to know about ethnic studies from the jump, they're probably going to fail this test and the people around them. Even if you're not hurling slurs, everyone is built with biases that most often target Black and brown people. Sometimes as a member of a marginalized group, whether it's based in origin, religion, gender, sexual orientation, it can be hard to acknowledge that you may still be acting in ways that harm others. Denying that we owe it to one another to try to be better people dooms us to maintain an inequitable society. World history is still in the curriculum. It's just taught a year later. And by the way, health is required too, mandatory. Ethnic studies adds to world history by bringing a deeper foundation in critical thinking to inform its lessons. And guess what? Your kid will still be an astronaut or a doctor or whatever it is you want them to be, but maybe they'll just be a better person while they're doing it. I urge you to keep ethnic studies as a year-long requirement. Every single student deserves it. Thank you.
After Tony, we'll have Jorge Pacheco.
Good evening to all of you, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Tony Mose. I'm here again tonight as a parent, a community member, and someone who deeply believes in what our schools can and should be for all of our students. I'm speaking in support of keeping ethnic studies a full year required course for 9th grade students. This is personal for me. I have 4 Black Jewish children who have come through this district. Keenan is my eldest, and who have received a solid education in many ways, but they often did not feel seen. They didn't feel their stories, their histories, or their perspectives were reflected in what they were learning. They didn't always feel their voices mattered in the classroom, or at times, like their voices were the only ones that mattered when they were singled out to answer questions or give perspectives during discussions surrounding slavery. That experience of being academically successful but emotionally unseen is one no student should have to endure. And that's exactly what ethnic studies changes. Our district's own website describes this course as, quote, an interdisciplinary study of race, ethnicity, and identity that helps students better understand themselves, their peers, and the world. As it's a space where every student, no matter their background, can examine who they are, where they come from, and how our shared history shapes their present. A full year gives students the space to grow, to have uncomfortable, because students should be uncomfortable, conversations, to build trust, to question assumptions, and to listen deeply. That process cannot be rushed into in a single semester or left up to chance by making the class optional. We've heard students say this class changed how they see themselves. Teachers have described how engagement and participation soar when students realize their experiences matter. That's what happens when education finally reflects the diversity of the students right in front of them. To shorten or dilute this course now would send a message that understanding identity, culture, and equity is somehow extra instead of essential to preparing students to thrive in our global diverse society. But MVLA's own mission says it clearly. We aim to inspire, prepare, empower every student to thrive in a global community. So tonight I ask you to stand firm. Let's keep ethnic studies a full year required course and be the example and the beacon for other school districts, because every student deserves the chance to be seen, to be heard, and to understand their place in our shared story.
After Jorge, we'll have Nir Paz.
Hello, my fellow colleagues. I am Jorge Pacheco Jr., and I'm a trustee at the Santa Clara County Board of Education. And I know exactly what it feels like to be on the other side of this table, considering, what to teach our kids and how to utilize the mandates that the public has given us for providing a world-class education for our students. That's literally why we have the positions we do. So I'll be talking about, from my perspective as a trustee, how I would approach this issue, and also, as speaking on an individual basis, also what the County Office of Education can provide as you navigate this. So I wouldn't be standing in front of you today if it weren't for my own experiences, learning about my own roots. When I was a high school student, amongst the last few weeks of my, of my high school experience, I asked my high school counselor if college was an option for me, and he said no. Because of my 1.7 GPA, he told me I'm better off just looking for a job. And it was in that moment that I knew that those messages that I've always received as a student coming up in public education, not seeing myself in the classroom, that I didn't matter. And those self-esteem punches that I received over the years were incredibly hard to undo. But I had the opportunity to do that when I went to college. Ethnic studies was how that was possible. That eventually helped me gain the self-esteem and the academic skills and the critical thinking abilities that I needed to eventually transfer to UC Berkeley, where I then became a teacher. And that's why for me, I know firsthand that ethnic studies, and specifically when you teach kids about who they are and that they matter and that they have the ability, the intellectual ability to engage in whatever it is that they want, that changes a person from the core. And that's how our kids are able to demonstrate their leadership abilities to you now, advocating for themselves and telling you that this is important for them. So as a trustee from the county level, your district is a jewel in the entire county, and not just the county, but also the state. Your kids are some of the best for a reason. The education that they receive, ethnic studies is part of that formula. And I want to see your district continue to be a leader for all districts, not just in our county, but across the state, on how to do this right and how to continue to improve. I ask that you please maintain the one-year course and know that the county office is here to support you in any way you need. Thank you.
After Near Pass, we'll have Satish.
Hey, good evening. My name is Neil Pass. I'm a longtime Mountain View community member and parent for a bunch of beautiful kids. And I care deeply about the quality of education in our district. And tonight, I want to urge the board not to overburden students with unnecessary one-year mandates. MVLA has always been a district known for excellence, for academic rigor, innovation, and opportunity. One of the reasons for that success has been the freedom for students that basically to make meaningful academic choices, to explore their interests and to take courses that challenge and inspire them. That's what prepares them for college and for life. And when we look at the data, it's clear that our students and families are asking for the same thing. The district's own survey showed that majority of students and many parents prefer ethnic studies to be a one-semester class that isn't about rejecting the subject at all. It's about balance. Students already have demanding schedules. Adding another full year requirement takes away their ability to pursue other interests and limits and the very academic flexibility that MVLA has always valued. This is a discussion about limiting, about forcing. And the question is, how long? Across Santa Clara County, almost every other high performance district has found a more balanced approach. No district requires one year long ethnic studies. I think that should make us pause for a second and ask, why are we the outlier here? Beyond that, many families and students have expressed real concern about the course itself. There's no common textbooks. Lessons and materials differ significantly between classrooms. Some teachers use completely different content, and when the course covers sensitive political topics, that inconsistency becomes a serious issue. We can solve this. This is all solvable. We need to ensure that every student receives a fair, balanced, and fact-based education, not one that depends on who their teacher happens to be. I believe deeply in teaching students empathy, inclusion, and respect. Those are value of our communities, and then we all share them. But these lessons can and should be taught through a thoughtful study of historic civics and literature, courses that explore students to multiple perspectives and help them think critically about complex issues. Please align MVLA with the best practices of other districts. Thank you very much.
After Satish, we'll have Maria.
My name is Satish. I'm a state elected delegate for California Democratic Party. I've been active in Indian community and American community in the Bay Area, engaging in civic, community, educational initiatives that promote equity and inclusion. Over the past few years, have been closely following the controversy surrounding the teachings of ethnic studies. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of MVLA parents from my community who are afraid to speak publicly, not because they don't care, but because they fear that doing so might result in their children being treated differently. They have shared with me the ethnic studies is not rigorous course. In addition, it emphasizes a specific ideology rather than diverse perspectives. It divides students into categories of victims and oppressors. Rather than helping them learn what unites them, education should empower students with knowledge and critical thinking, not reinforce label or guilt based on identity. They have also pointed out that Indian community is invincible in the ethnic study curriculum. Our history, culture, and the contributions are not mentioned, although Indian Americans make up to 7% of Santa Clara County population, 16 to 70% of Mountain View, and even 34% of the Asian population. The lack of representation is especially disappointing. In our community, we believe deeply in hard work, personal agency, and opportunity. We are not victims or oppressors, and we don't want our children to grow up believing that because of their skin color, they have fewer opportunities or must carry collective guilt. The countless Indian CEOs and the innovators in the Silicon Valley are living proof that with education, determination, and effort, success is within the reach for everyone. In the MVLA district, replacing world history with a year-long ethnic studies course as a graduation requirement is a step backward. World history is essential for every student and provides the foundation to understand and appreciate the sacrifice of those who build the democratic society and live in today. I respectfully urge the board to restore world history as a graduation requirement and make ethnic study a one-semester course. The board should appreciate the value, the different perspectives each community holds, and respect parents' right to have differing opinions on political and social issues. Imposing the board's particular ideology is the opposite of inclusion. Thank you.
After Maria, we'll have Tanya Maluf.
I'm Maria. I'm a parent and long-term community member studying ethnic studies. As MVLA is very proud and seems to be decisive already in the long-term ethnic studies, I would like to propose 2 guiding principles. Number 1, let this course be an elective offered for 1 semester so that students who choose it engage genuinely without feeling forced or prescribed. Number 2, ensure that the curricula is inclusive of all our students, including Jewish students, and mindful of recent legislative changes, especially AB 715. On the first point, making ethnic studies an elective for 1 semester gives the district flexibility, lets students opt in who want the deeper dive, and helps avoid one-size-fits-all rigidity. This structure supports voluntary engagement and honors students' agency. On the second point, AB 715 recently advanced in California, and it addresses discrimination in K-12 education explicitly, including anti-Semitism. The bill revises definition of nationality and religion in the Education Code to include ancestry, ethnic characteristics, and discrimination on the basis of religions that includes anti-Semitism. Among other things, it requires that instructional materials not promote or include unlawful discrimination and mandates corrective actions if materials do. No swastikas. In light of AB 715, our ethnic studies elective should include Jewish identity, history, and contributions as part of the diversity of communities we study, explicitly avoid stereotyping or framing any religious or ethnic group in a way that fosters blame, exclusion, or hostility, provide professional development for teachers so that they can recognize and respond to anti-Semitic tropes, just as they would other forms of prejudice. Ensure that the elective remains a respectful space, a choice for students, and is not structured in a way that pits communities against one another. When our classroom become places where students choose to engage, feel seen, and learn to listen to others, we live out the promise of education. Let's make MVLA Ethnic Studies elective one-semester program a model of what inclusive, thoughtful, and legally aware curriculum can be. Thank you.
After Tanya, we'll have Anu Chardon.
Good evening. I'm a community member and I have two graduates from Los Altos High School. I have a couple of acknowledgements that I'd like to make first. First, to the team of teachers who tirelessly created the ethnic studies curriculum, and to the ethnic studies team who will now face the burden of teaching true history with the possible consequence of disciplinary action if truth makes someone feel uncomfortable if AB 715 becomes law as of January 1, 2026. From the MVLA Board of Trustees website, it reads, "The foremost focus of the trustees and superintendent is to support the academic success of all students. Some of the voices of those students who braved speaking at a board meeting or writing a letter to the board said it was ethnic studies that helped them find their voice. That is academic success. Trusting the expertise of the teachers hired by the district to teach our students is academic success. Dismantling ethnic studies will not lead to academic success for any student. I understand funding is an issue. Perhaps consider a study session on approaching the state and the Office of Civil Rights and ask for a share of the $4 million they will spend annually on a coordinator who will be investigating discrimination complaints. Please keep ethnic studies as a year-long course in MVLA."
After Annette, we'll have Iran Tamari.
Hello, members, and thank you for listening to me. I'm gonna do it super short because I think it's way simpler than we think about it. So the first fact is that we all care deeply about the mental health of our students. We know they're under a lot of pressure and we all concerned about that. The second fact is that when we ask the student what they think about ethnic study, the majority voted for one semester. I think the conclusion should be simple as having it for one semester. Now, people can say it's not enough. I want to remind you that ethnic studies does not start at high school. Ethnic studies starts when they are children, when they're in elementary school, When I volunteered last week in my kids' school, the teachers spent more than 15 minutes on a math class, telling them, teaching them how to approach conflicts, which tone to use. So it's not that we are limiting the ethnic studies. We're removing the burden of the already existing that our students have. Thank you for listening to me.
After Iran, we'll have Lickbin.
Good evening. My name is Aran Tamari, and I'm the parent of two Los Altos high school freshmen. I'm here representing them as I think they could find it intimidating to speak up here with their teachers present. At the last board meeting, I spoke about my concerns regarding the ethnic studies course and the need for stronger academic rigor. Time is a scarce resource. Every minute of a student's high school experience is valuable. When students are juggling their time between demanding schedules, homework, sports, music, volunteering, and other after-school activities, we owe it to them to make sure that what they study in class gives them real academic value. Regarding academic rigor, and it was spoken about this evening, according to the survey conducted by the district, only 45% of the students said ethnic studies was appropriately challenging. That's compared to 67% for English. And only 41% said the workload was similar to their other courses. These are facts based on student feedback and should not be dismissed. If you're looking for data-driven decisions, this is the data that speaks the loudest. In a district like ours, with outstanding teachers and a wide variety of exceptional classes to choose from, every semester counts. Reducing ethnic studies to one semester will not take away from its goals, and it will not eliminate the course altogether. On the contrary, it will give our students the choice to explore more challenging or interest-driven subjects in the other half of the year. It will also bring more focus to the course itself, allowing it to have a similar academic rigor and standard as is expected across the district. When asked directly how long the course should be, 62% of the students said 1 semester. And this is from the district's own survey. The majority of the students are saying very clearly what they need and what they want. Let me say that one more time. The majority of the students are saying very clearly what they need and what they want. They want more balance, more efficiency, and more respect for their time. I ask you to respond with the same open-mindedness and academic integrity you expect from the students. Thank you very much.
After Lickman, we'll have Iran Arkin. Lickman? Yeah.
My name is Lickbin Koo. I'm a proud parent of a 9th grader taking mandatory ethnic studies this year. As suggested by the ethnic studies teacher, I regularly check in with my child to see what he's learning in his ethnic studies class. A few weeks ago, he was taught the wheel of power/privilege. As part of the classwork, he was asked to list 3 things that he identifies himself with from that wheel. So out of curiosity, I asked him, what are his 3 things? His answer, I like to build things. This is very telling. Instead of selecting 3 things to define his identity based on skin color, formal education, ability, sexuality, neurodiversity, mental health, body size, housing, wealth, language, gender, and citizenship, which are the 12 areas defined in the wheel of power/privilege, my 15-year-old, in a way that's most natural for 15-year-olds, identify himself as someone who enjoys doing hands-on projects. That is his self-defined identity. This begs the question, why are we pushing our 15-year-olds to define themselves based on this very narrow wheel of identity? Why are we pushing our 15-year-olds to divide themselves into groups based on this wheel? You might say, well, this is just one course material out of many. Ethnic studies is much more than this. But after a few months of reviewing the ethnic studies coursework for my son's class, I found that this will is so fundamental to the entire concept of ethnic studies, putting students into groups so teachers can effectively teach the concept of victims versus oppressors. As someone who grew up in a country that was once a colony of the British Empire, and before that the Dutch Empire, and yet before that the Portuguese Empire, I was taught history, plain and simple, but never the victim mentality. Because when you assume victim mentality, every setback in life is easily attributed to your victimhood. It does no one any good to assume such identity. I respectfully ask for this board to please restore the 9th grade history class as a mandatory class. If you must offer ethnic studies, make it 1 semester and optional. In my humble opinion, this coursework is more suitable in college, not 9th grade, because it teaches a certain perspective, a certain worldview that many do not agree. Thank you.
After Iran, we'll have Nadav.
Hello. Good evening. I'm here to address the mandatory year-long ethnic studies requirements. I believe the curriculum needs serious reconsideration, not because ethnic study lacks value, but because it's how we're implementing it. Number 1, opportunity costs. The state doesn't mandate that, as you all know. Why doesn't it consume an entire year when critical subjects like computer science get minimal time? My daughter, for example, had poor computer science exposure in middle school and never got another chance in high school because she was intimidated by that. Meanwhile, ethnic studies get a full year. Number 2, my daughter, who took this course last year, didn't really learn anything apart from the oppressed, victim thing. She remembers scattered, when I asked her today, she remembers scattered facts about, the Aztecs and the Incas, but it doesn't really help her understand how the world is today. At the same time, when I asked her about a founding father, which I didn't learn at school because I learned in a different country, she couldn't tell anything about Ben Franklin beyond the fact that he was our founding father. And I asked her peers and friends also from higher grades in this district, and they just didn't know. They couldn't tell a single fact about Ben Franklin beyond the fact that he was our founding father, which is concerning because he did many great things. The other thing is they don't learn really how power shapes narratives. I mean, we're here because the U.S. is powerful and should remain powerful. These frameworks matter more than isolated facts they won't remember anyways. They're not learning how to think about this subject. And this goes beyond ethnic studies, by the way, in your district. My daughter takes now economics in 10th grade. And I would expect the first thing she will learn in economics is supply-demand curve. But no, she learns about employee rights. And employee rights are important. I'm an employee myself and I want to have good rights. But without profits, without understanding of microeconomics, there's no employee rights anyways. The number 3, which is probably the most concerning, is the classroom environment, which other speaker addressed. My daughter told me, and I'm quoting, "I was uncomfortable that we had a whole unit that was about anti-Trump. It felt like the teacher was pushing his political views on us." She added, "Every single time the teacher would yell at me for saying illegal immigrants instead of undocumented." And it's not just ethnic studies. In English, for example, books are being selected based on author's sexual orientation instead of teaching classics like Tom Sawyer and Shakespeare. I firmly believe that students in the district deserve rigorous, politically neutral education that teaches them how to think, not what to think. I'm asking the board to reconsider the mandatory year-long requirement. Thank you.
After Nadav, we'll have Amber Dyler.
Hi, my name is Nadav, and I'm a longtime resident in Los Altos. In fact, we moved to Los Altos because of the reputation of the public schools here. So I want you to remember that. I have 2 daughters. One of them graduated from Los Altos High, and she's going to Stanford right now. And the other one is a top-notch student, and hopefully will go also to a very good school. They're not here because, well, at least one of them is not here because she's studying. She has a very hard curriculum, and she's also intimidated. She will not come and talk in front of the other teachers and put herself as a target. So, and I believe many students are like this. Having seen both of their educational journeys up close, I want to emphasize how critical it is that our district keeps strong focus on academic excellence and student choice. Our students today face an increasingly competitive world, especially those aiming for admission for top universities in the US. These schools looks for students who challenge themselves with rigorous coursework, who explore advanced electives, and who demonstrate depth and curiosity across disciplines. That's why every course and every semester matters. When we fill our student schedules with classes that lack academic rigor or overlap with material already covered in earlier years, we take away opportunities from them to pursue subjects that truly prepare them for college level work, whether that is AP courses, languages, or STEM electives. I want to be clear. I support the idea of helping students learn about diversity, empathy, and civic responsibility. Those are valuable goals. But that should not come at the expense of academic growth. Education should expand minds, not narrow their choices. Giving students the option to take ethnic studies as an elective or one semester, you know what? Make it even 4 semesters as far as I'm concerned, but make it elective. Let them choose. Don't force them to take 1 year if you think it's that important. It allows the district to preserve the course's important social goals while ensuring that students will have room to challenge themselves academically and pursue their individual interests. MVLA has always prided itself on preparing students for excellence. Let's make sure we continue to do so by offering both depth and choice and trusting our students to decide what best supports their future. So again, give them the choice. Don't force it. Thank you.
After Amber, we'll have Igal Friedman.
Hi, thank you for your time. Can you hear? I just want to thank you for your time and listening to parents. I have a student at Mountain View and I have one coming in. I myself am a student right now. I went to San Jose State and took a class titled Psychology of Prejudice. It was one of the best classes I took. When I was taking it, I'm a psychology major. When I was taking it, I thought this shouldn't be just for psychology majors. I think this should be for every student that comes through a school system because it was so changing. That being said, it was a semester course and the information was extensive and felt like it gave enough information to understand the crux of the problem and how to be a better person in the world. I feel saddened tonight because I feel like there's a lot of discord and a lot of not seeing that I think we all have the same goals. I hope anyway that we all want the world to be a better place, to be more kind, to be more loving, to have every single person feel seen and to be noticed in the classrooms. And I just think we can find a way forward in doing that together, both sides. It feels like it's one way or the other. And I feel like there's one that it should be a mandatory class. And I do think it could be done in a semester or quarter, whatever you call them. My brain's a little confused with taking college classes, but I think it can be done in 1 quarter or semester. And I think that we can make sure that the curriculum is consistent with every teacher and every school. I think that's also really important, that teachers can't just teach their own personal feelings. I think it needs to be something that you as a board decide what is okay. And like having a textbook and certain materials that are covered, I think that's very important. So anyway, like I said, I hope that we can feel more unity and more kindness because I think we all have the same goals here to make our world a better place. And I certainly feel like it's the environment politically and even here tonight has felt pretty divisive. So I hope we can find a way forward together. Thank you.
After Igal, we'll have Candida Diaz.
Thank you very much. My name is Igal. My children soon will be part of MVLA high school system. And this is the reason I'm looking closely about this topic. I fully support the idea of learning about different identities and ethnicities, a great connection and better understanding between the different groups. That's really important. But the way this course is currently designed, it's not doing that, but the opposite. This is the obvious reason why so many people are here at this late evening hour. Instead of bringing students together, it focuses on power structure, system of oppression, and political activism, labeling students, concept that too often divisive rather than uniting. Across California, we are seeing how similar courses have led to conflict and polarization. The public classroom is not the place for indoctrination kids. Students are not learning about the shared history, the values, or the incredible contribution of the different communities, but built this country together. They are learning how to see each other through the lens of privilege and power, not humanity and connection. Education should open minds, build bridges, and not separate and close hearts. Please, I urge you, make this one semester course and use that opportunity to focus on what really matters, teaching understanding, respect, and real story of what makes United States really united. Thank you.
After Candida, we'll have Chelsea. Deguchi.
Hello. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Candida Diaz, and I am a teacher and a parent within this community. I have a first grade at Almond and a seventh grader at Egan, who will soon be attending at Los Altos High School. I am here speaking in support of keeping ethnic studies as a year-long required course. This is my third year teaching ethnic studies at Los Altos High School, and I've seen firsthand how transformative this class is for our students academically, socially, and emotionally. In this course, students learn essential academic skills, historical thinking, evidence-based writing, and engaging in meaningful dialogue about complex topics. But more importantly, they learn empathy. They learn to listen, to understand, and to connect with people whose experiences may be very different from their own. Our school community is incredibly diverse. In this class, students see themselves reflected in the curriculum, some for the very first time. For many, it's the first time they feel that their story, their culture, and their family's history matter in an academic space. Ethnic studies also builds a strong foundation for future academic success. Many of my former ethnic studies students are now in my AP US History class. They come in with confidence, critical thinking skills, and the ability to analyze multiple perspectives, skills they began developing in ethics studies. And they're not only excelling academically, they are thoughtful, compassionate young people who contribute meaningful to our campus community. As our own MVLA website notes, research shows that a culturally meaningful and relevant curriculum has a positive impact on all students. When students see themselves and their peers represented in what they learn, they are more engaged, feel a stronger sense of belonging, and are more likely to thrive, both in and beyond the classroom. Ethnic studies is not just another class. It is the foundation of creating inclusive, informed, and empathetic students, the kind of students our district strives to develop. I urge you to continue supporting ethnic studies as a year-long required course so that every student in our district has the opportunity to learn, to grow, and connect in ways that truly prepare them for the world ahead. Thank you.
After Chelsea, we have Ilana Cohen.
Good evening. My name is Chelsea Domeguchi, and I'm the department coordinator at Los Altos High School. I support and trust all of the MVLA social studies teacher and all the hard work they've put into the course. Whatever the board decides, please support and trust the teachers. Far too many teachers at Los Altos are burnt out, and staffing the class has been a true challenge. I want to put on my social studies teacher hat because I teach a diverse population, AP, college prep, and ELD. And I also want to wear my mom hat tonight too. My son and daughter will attend Los Altos soon, and I want the board to remember the decision they make will impact all students, including our special education students and ELD students. Teaching ELD this year has really opened my eyes in terms of the amount of credits the students need to take, oftentimes in such a short amount of time. Many are enrolled in 2 social studies classes at once. This elective impacts the choice class students take as freshmen. The classes they take set the foundation for the rest of high school. My son, he's a 7th grader at Egan. He looks forward to his elective class in the morning. When he starts at Los Altos, he won't be able to choose his elective class until he's a junior, as long as he follows the A through G pathway and is enrolled in a learning skills class. That said, I do support offering ethnic studies in some capacity, and I 100% trust my colleagues in the curriculum and skills they deliver to students. But the board needs to take more time and look at more longitudinal data to think about the impact, the length, and sequence this class will have on students. The class of 2027 are just juniors now. Please consider using data from, at the very least, that graduating class before deciding. From what I've been hearing during all these board meetings and study sessions, there isn't an easy answer or decision that can be made. I urge you to be careful and thoughtful in your decision. Thank you.
After Ilana, we'll have Nellie Brooke.
Hi, here we all are again, similar faces, debating ethnic studies again. Ethnic studies promises us time and again that it's going to bring our community together to celebrate each other and support each other. Is that what we have here today? No. We see division, we see anger, and we see disrespect going on over and over again. At the last board meeting, as somebody mentioned, we've been here quite a few times, the parent spoke about how she didn't like the curriculum, the ethnic studies curriculum. I heard students whispering and giggling, calling her an oppressor. That's what the students have learned, that if you don't agree with the person speaking next to you, then you should call out to them, you should laugh at them, and they're the oppressor and you're the victim. We're not the only district to see this division. We hear communities, we read newspaper articles echoing ugly board meetings and divide throughout districts. We see career politicians focused on ethnic studies to bring their political careers forward and flourish on these divisions here. As a result of these similar problems caused by ethnic studies and the debates ongoing, the districts, many across California, are canceling the ethnic studies requirement, leaving the class to 1 semester or not offering it at all. Overall, through all the 1,200 districts of California and through the many years that ethnic studies has been offered here in MVLA, no district has proven or even supported any actual evidence that the goals of ethnic studies have been met, that there's been less discrimination in the district, in ours or any others. In fact, in our own district here in MVLA, we continue to see discrimination based on religion and ethnicity. So why has ethnic studies not brought these goals closer together and not provided any actual evidence of achieving unity and community respect? Why do we have a substantial increase in discriminatory complaints instead? If ethnic studies isn't helping, then let's redirect and find real solutions to this problem. I imagine a district where students are allowed to choose their own classes, where they have flexibility to take AP classes or CTE classes. Why has no one talked about that today? Or ethnic studies. Hundreds of students are asking to be allowed the choice and to respect when they disagree. Why would any of us be against that? Why can't we respect the students' choices? Thank you.
After Nellie, we'll have Enough Garten.
Hi, my name is Nelly and I'm the parent of a sophomore at Mountain View High School. I believe that ethnic studies should not be a mandatory course and certainly not a full year requirement. From my experience with my daughter's class, I don't believe the course provided significant academic value. She didn't gain much from the curriculum, and I feel that valuable time could have been devoted to subjects that build stronger critical thinking skills and deepen academic and general knowledge such as world history. Based on students' feedback and my own review of what the course covered, I do not see a clear reason to limit students' ability to choose courses that align with their individual interests and goals, especially when other schools in our area provide more flexibility and choices. Another important concern is that the content and the tone of the course can vary significantly depending on a teacher's personal view. This inconsistency can be concerning and in some cases make students feel uncomfortable. I believe all required courses should maintain clear academic standards and avoid content that may be influenced by personal or political perspectives. Thank you.
After Inav, we'll have Daphna Kaliski-Horn.
Hello, my name is Zainab, and I'd like to put it quite simply. I'm a junior at Los Altos High School. In 2 years, I'll be going off to college, having taken no world history courses. It scares me that I would lack the basic common knowledge that I could have gained my freshman year instead of being forced to take ethnic studies. And I'm equally scared for future students, including my 11-year-old sister. I know many of my friends feel the same way, but are too scared to come here and speak out. I believe there is a possibility for this course to be beneficial, but there is no case where it should be mandatory. Thank you.
After Daphna, we'll have Will Dawudi.
Good evening. My name is Daphna. I'm a Mountain View resident, and I have 2 young boys who are slated to attend Mountain View High. I do not want to take a lot of your time. It was just important to me to come up here today and express my feelings and thoughts. I'm very concerned about the ethnic study curriculum, especially as it comes at the cost of other classes. I urge you to shorten the ethnic studies course to 1 semester. Thank you.
After Will, we'll have Sarah Townsend Handley.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to let me speak and listening to parents like me, first of all. My name is Will. I live in Mountain View. My children started out in Mistral. They'll be going to Los Altos very soon, which is why I've been following this issue closely. You may not know it, but I'm a refugee. I grew up in a war in Iran. I saw things that children should never have seen. We managed to escape. We came to America. We thrived. My parents taught me morals at home. I learned great subjects like history, which form my views of the world. There's absolutely no reason for this course to be a full year. No reason to take away from learning history. No reason to assume morality can't be taught at home and must be taught in classes. No reason for me to worry now, after all my suffering, that I'm going to be the oppressor, according to my children. What makes Mountain View students so different from every other district in California that they need a full year of ethnic studies instead of 1 semester? Please align the graduation requirements with those of the state of California, the UC and CSU systems. A 1 semester ethnic studies course is more than enough to achieve its goals. And one more thing. Earlier, we heard from a member of the Santa Clara County Board of Education, Mr. Pachenko. If teachers of ethnic studies are truly committed to unity, inclusion, fair representation, inviting someone with a public record of bias and divisive behavior, someone even profiled by organizations that track hate promotion, was not the right message to send. Please bring back focus, balance, and credibility to this program and make ethnic studies a 1 semester course. Thank you.
After Sarah, we'll have Jenny Polyakov.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Townsend Hanley, and I live and work for the community in Mountain View. I'm here to voice my support of maintaining ethnic studies as a year-long course. The argument I'm hearing mostly is to increase the rigor. I think that's great. then pour resources into allowing ethnic studies to grow, because the histories that are being taught in this course are not optional to learn in the world we're living in today, and they are already too consolidated. How exactly does rigor present itself in the classroom? Is it more assignments, more lectures, more readings? Maybe, but I encourage you to also open your mind to more possibilities that aren't reflected in other classrooms for non-white students. Maybe it's sitting in the discomfort of this country's history and the tragic and rage-inducing truths of colonialism and colonization. Maybe it's feeling seen for the first time in the curriculum. Maybe it's being able to finally have a classroom that's accessible for students neurodivergent. Ethnic studies is already a catch-all for all these things and more, and for all the histories outside of patriarchal Western Europe, and it's systemically under-resourced in public and higher education. Offer it the resources that an English lit class have and watch it thrive. Properly taught, it does not create a victim mentality. It fosters strength and resilience. It's been pointed out that MVLA is revolutionary in its offering of this course, so continue that momentum tonight and onwards. Thank you.
After Jenny, we'll have Sarth Hergstein.
Hello. My name is Jenny Polakov. I'm a parent of 3 girls. 2 of them are in UC system. All of them are all were in Los Altos High. And I was standing here a year ago talking, personal stories about older girls loving or hating world history. And now we have a freshman youngster who is studying ethnic studies. While she has a big group of friends of all nationalities and colors, that's the fact. That's what I think we're blessed to live in such a multicultural environment. Here is the quote. While I was waiting for my turn, I texted her and I asked her, what project do you like? What subject? What do you like about the class? She said, the projects are mediocre and boring. I don't know what to say to you. It's a boring class that no one enjoys. You just want to sleep the whole time. Do we want such a class to be taught in 9th grade instead of world history? I strongly urge you to return world history to 9th grade. Thank you.
After Sarth, we'll have Carla Padua.
Good evening. We heard comments suggesting that the survey question, should ethnic studies be a year-long or a one-semester course, is somehow invalid because students weren't asked the same question about English. 62% of students answered that they preferred one semester of ethnic studies. To the board members and district leaders who helped design this survey, did you intentionally ask the question that way? Of course not, because in California, English is required for 4 full years. It is not optional. Asking if English should be one semester wouldn't make sense. It is not even on the table. But ethnic studies is. So please don't dismiss the student voices with excuses about survey design. They answered honestly and their message was clear. They want ethnic studies to be one semester. And really, do we believe our MVLA students need 2 semesters to learn how to be inclusive and empathetic? Are they so uniquely in need of moral instruction compared to students in every other district in California? Please, do the right thing, respect the students' voices, respect their time, and make ethnic studies a one-semester course. Thank you.
After Carla, we'll have Roz Lev.
Hi, I'm Carla Padva, and I'm a resident of Los Altos. I have 2 kids that will be soon entering Los Altos High. I'm also the child of immigrants who grew up in Canada. My parents taught me to value education as a great equalizer, something that opens doors through hard work, curiosity, and perseverance. That's a foundation that I want for my kids too. As a person of color, I feel deeply uncomfortable with the direction that ethnic studies requirement as it's currently designed. I don't want my kids to feel like victims or be portrayed as oppressors because of their skin color. That kind of labeling doesn't empower children, it confuses them and it divides them. Empathy and connection are essential, but not at the expense of academic depth. Our kids have limited time in high school, and ninth grade is foundational. They should be focusing on courses that expand their knowledge and challenge them, like accurate history, math, and sciences, not being confined to a curriculum that divides the world into oppressors and the oppressed. True understanding of history comes through studying it accurately and not through a political filter. Our students deserve an environment where they can think critically, explore perspectives freely, and form their own opinions without feeling pressured to conform to somebody else's ideology. I urge the district to ensure the curriculum decisions are carefully thought out and not left to discretion of individual teachers with personal or political agendas. Left unchecked, this becomes an echo chamber, not an education. There's no reason this should not be an elective or at the very least, one semester course. This approach gives students the flexibility to pursue classes that inspire them, while encouraging empathy, cultural understanding, and inclusion, values I absolutely support, but in a balanced and age-appropriate way. Education should uplift. It should build confidence, not guilt. It should prepare kids to thrive, not see themselves through the lens of division or grievance. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to the perspective of a parent like me, who believe deeply in both compassion and academic excellence. I urge you to vote that ethnic studies be kept only as one semester or as an elective. Thank you.
After Raz, we'll have Ben Bellamy.
Hi, my name is Raz. I'm a resident of Mountain View. I'm baffled by the fact that we're still discussing a one-year course. I want to point out that most, if not all of those that are advocating for an extended ethnic studies course are not parents of children who will be affected by this. Most don't live in our district. Those of us who have children who are going to be affected by this are doing our best to protect our children and give them the opportunity to study and build the social and academic foundation that they're going to need. For some, this might involve an ethnic studies course, but for many, there are other more important subjects to study. Even more importantly, our children spoke with a clear and loud voice. The district ran a survey, you know the results. The vast majority of children don't think that this course is beneficial. They don't think it's worth their time, and they don't want to be forced into taking it. What message does it send when we run a survey, hear the kids out, and then ignore them and ignore their parents, ignore the residents, just to entertain people from outside the district who feel that this is their crusade, that this is how they're going to change the world. I'm asking you to listen to your residents and give the students a choice. Don't force them to spend time on a course that they don't want and that doesn't contribute to their education. Since forcing this course on our kids, we've had the Nazi Society of Los Altos launched. I think the student who launched it is still in the school, still studying with Jewish students. As far as I know, nothing has been done, or at least not communicated. We've had multiple swastikas drawn in the school. We've had an anti-Semitic comedian come and run blood libel on the stage in Mountain View High. So whatever the course is supposed to do, it's not doing a great job at. Rather than staying the course and continuing just because we started, maybe it's time to pause, listen to your voters, and make this an elective, at least until we figure out what this is supposed to do. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Ben Bellamy. I'm a community member. I am very concerned about the ethnic studies class. I don't think that there's anyone in this building that's not supportive of inclusivity or empathy, but I think a lot of us are extremely concerned about the ways that we're trying to achieve these goals. I'm concerned that in the pursuit of these extremely noble goals, we're unintentionally teaching an ideology of political and racial divisiveness And we're doing this at the expense of academic rigor and historical facts. Our children deserve better, our community deserves better, and our country deserves better. Please vote to either shorten the ethnic studies curriculum or just make it an elective. Thank you.
I think folks need a quick bio break, so let's do a 5 minute and then come back. 9:56, that was the last public comment. Yeah. So 9:56, we'll come back. We're gonna, now that the board's all back, we're gonna go ahead and first thank everyone who spoke and addressed the board, and open up for the board to discuss. Where we left off last week was around the three options found in the agenda. Option A, the status quo with some possible curriculum adjustments. Option C1 was to mandate ethnic studies as a semester course. And then option C2, mandate ethnic studies as a semester course with an additional semester of a social studies course. And so I'll open it up to the board.
I just wanted to clarify for the public, if they didn't notice these three choices, we already made the decision last time that we are having one.
That
And
we
it
do want
is
to mandate an
mandatory
ethnic.
or required for at least one semester. So we're not making it
Right. Today's
not-
discussion is really around length and how we're gonna.
which one, but we are not
implement-
having it be optional.
Correct.
Whichever form we pick is not optional.
So to confirm, we're choosing between A, C1, and C2, is that right?
Yes, last week we wanted to narrow in the options, and those were the three that we said we would consider in today's discussion.
So, and we're discussing first and then making motions, so that's the idea?
And then discuss.
Yeah.
I'd love to share some comments and make a motion. Well, first, I feel like we have to really thank Terry and our social studies teachers, even though Terry is not here, for a lot of the thought and care that went into both the current course and this process. I know this represents years of collaboration and pride and professional commitment, and I know that iterations are never easy. And so I want to acknowledge that and express how much we appreciate all of our teachers' work. And the teachers we have, we are very fortunate, they're exceptional, really thoughtful, student-centered professionals who care deeply and help every student grow. So that's very clear. And I also want to thank all of the families and the community members and the students who have shared their perspectives, both over email and here in public. It's quite a complex and heartfelt conversation. And it's very clear how deeply our community cares about doing what's best for the students. We, from one side, heard from those who want to preserve the current full year course. We also heard from people who want ethnic studies to become an elective. And both perspectives, in my mind, come from the same good place, a genuine desire to serve our students as best as possible. To me, we have to find a balanced path forward that both honors the inclusion and empathy at the heart of ethnic studies, but also restores the flexibility and choice that helps students meet their broader academic and wellness goals. As students, in my mind, deserve a course that really builds empathy for a diverse student body, helps them understand one another, helps create unity across our community. And they also deserve the same choices and flexibility as their peers in other high-performing districts, so they can be well prepared and equally positioned for college and career opportunities. Some of the comments tonight shared that for ethnic studies to be successful, it has to be a year-long process to deliver full learnings. So I deeply respect that perspective and the passion behind it. But looking across California, many high-performing districts are successfully offering ethnic studies as a one-semester course, exactly as the state designed it. In my mind, what truly matters is actually not the length of the course, but the quality of the experience, the relationships, the reflection, the understanding it builds. And we are fortunate to have incredibly qualified and talented educators who can create that depth and that quality, just like what other districts have done. And to be honest, they'll probably do it better. So yeah, in my mind, there is a balanced path forward that allows us to meet the state requirement along with the intent of ethnic studies and still preserves the flexibility for students to pursue other meaningful courses that help them grow. I also have to step back and think about the principle behind these choices. If we were to maintain a full year local requirement when the state itself only requires one semester, we are stepping beyond what's required of any other district. And once we go beyond state requirements, where do we draw the line next time? In my mind, we have to honor the original intent and goal of ethnic studies while keeping our policy grounded in sound principles and really make mandatory only what truly needs to be. I also want to acknowledge the feedback from our student survey. And it shows that while students value ethnic studies, and we also heard this from our student ambassadors or student board members, most prefer a one-semester format.
That additional flexibility lets them take other classes that are equally meaningful to their growth. Can be health, can be finance, can be another social studies elective or class that builds on their interests and future goals. As part of this, I also want to acknowledge the importance of staffing stability. We have amazing teachers. So as part of whatever option we choose, I'd like us to work together to make this option FTE neutral. And I have some ideas for how some of the other paths could actually do that in partnership with our teachers and leadership team. And so in my mind, there is an option where every student takes an ethnic studies class, a really important class, very clearly, that fosters diversity, empathy, connection, but it preserves room for other courses that support their academic, social, and personal development. So in short, I'd like to make a motion for C1. It is a balanced solution. It incorporates student preferences, community input, honors the teachers' professionalism, supports student wellness and academic success, and strengthens the unity and excellence that we all strive for in this district.
So I think let's hear from other board members before we.
We're gonna have more discussion. We would need a second. If we don't get a second, then we can come up with another.
I'll second the
there a second?
motion. It's aligned with what I've been thinking.
Did you want to share
Yeah,
anything else or?
I'll second the motion. We are not allowed to speak,
Okay.
right? We just,
Yeah,
not now.
Discussion.
yeah,
We can?
yeah, because you seconded the motion.
Okay, so we don't have to vote.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay,
so let's discuss.
okay, then I'll, that's great, because I'd like to offer my perspective, why I'm seconding the motion. I've been reflecting on a study session, and I observed the lack of validation of the other perspectives from most speakers. Something ethnic studies makes a priority. So I'll start today by validating the effort that went into creating the ethnic studies program. Teachers invested many hours to ensure that students learn about diverse communities they belong to. Parents and students have shared how this course shaped understanding and appreciation of diversity. These voices matter, and I hear you. I've also heard concerns from parents and students about unintended consequences, that the course sometimes feels divisive, lacks rigor, and introduces complex historical impacts before students have foundational knowledge of history and government. Hanover research data shows that most students favor reducing the course to one semester. Here's why I believe this change strengthens, not weakens, our commitment to diversity. A one-semester ethnic studies course will ensure every student engages deeply with these critical topics, but it also restores space for additional electives in 9th grade, setting students for success early on. Option C1 is the only in compliance with the California Department of Education offering suggestion to offer social studies as electives in 9th grade and creating room for other important courses like health with their own dedicated teaching staff, but most importantly, providing students a choice. Option C1 is the only one that supports balanced community feedback and student preference. It is the option preferred by 2 former board members per the email that we received recently. No matter what the decision board makes tonight, the decision will both be applauded and criticized. This is where leadership comes in from this board to make this decision based on advocacy for students and parent voices in compliance with California Department of Education guidance. Based on this data, community input and practices in the neighboring districts, I recommend that we choose option C1. So I'd like to second Alex's suggestion.
Do we take vote now or can we further
There's
discuss?
more discussion and we vote. If it does not pass, then we go to another
Yeah.
option. If it does pass, then that's the
So
direction.
I have some thoughts, but if Catherine or, okay. Dina, would you like me to go or would you like to go next or would you? Want me to- Okay, so I've been, I would say a little bit more quiet on this topic when I was on leave, but when I came back last time, because while I came back knowing where I stood, I also want to make sure that I'm listening to the community. And one of the challenges, and I think we've alluded to this, is that the community clearly wants different things. And it's not just representative of what we heard during public comment, but the amount of communication that the board has received in the last, actually, I would say since January around this topic. And I think someone mentioned, 20 parents from LPO. It was actually 40 letters that we received last board meeting. And so, again, wanted to really hear and listen. And my concern with the semester course is twofold. One, I don't think that there's been enough time given to the course as a year long. We just heard that the junior class is the first one that really, again, I don't think it's enough, but the class that took the course and can speak to it more so right now. But I think the second piece is I don't want to belittle the amount of work that I anticipate it would take to make this a semester course. And I say that because I recognize all of the time and work that it took to even get to a year-long course. And I'm not just talking about the teachers. I think we expect that that's just what teachers should do, create curriculum, but the amount of community input and the amount of time that not just this board, but the previous board and the board before that took. This is, I don't even know what number of meeting around this topic that I myself have sat in the last 3 years. This is also coming from someone who has sat in these classes, observed actually 4. This is someone who's looked at a lot of the curriculum and has sat with some of you even reviewing some of that curriculum. And so that's my concern with reducing it. The other piece I think about is I think about what students we've heard from. And I recognize that if students aren't comfortable, there shouldn't be an expectation that they come publicly present. By no means would I expect that. And I want to name that a lot of the letters that we received and emails that have come from our students of color really affirm a lot of the research I myself have done and a lot of my dissertation work, that attending a high resource district like MVLA is such a privilege for any student. And it's also a hard place to navigate as a student of color. And I think that courses like ethnic studies, like our AVID program, are spaces where students feel safe, seen, and actually inspire and motivate them to do better. And I can't belittle that benefit that a year-long course provides. And what's hard about that is you can't necessarily quantify that in an SAT score or, in some of the data that we've seen, even in the survey data. So, but it's real. It's real. And so while I've entertained all 3 options, and I really have, as I've heard from all kinds of community members, I feel strongest about option A based off where we currently are and what previous discussions I've been a part of. I entered the conversation 3 years ago, I would say 4 years ago when I campaigned, and I still stand firmly by my vote last year. So.
I do want to echo the thanks to everyone who spoke. This has been an issue that I spoke about last time. It's a difficult decision. It is one where there has been division. I agree with a lot of what, all of what Esme said. And also that I have reviewed the material. And some of the material that has been presented here tonight is not what we were shown as the curriculum. So there may need to be some cleanup if there is a oppressor wheel. I don't think, what I saw were posters where students were simply asked to identify themselves. And students did say, like, I play soccer, I build things, which is appropriate for 14-year-olds. Some also said, I'm Mexican-American, and I'm very proud to be Mexican-American. So I think there should be space for all children. I also want to say that the class specifically talks about anti-Semitism and specifically talks about all Jews. I think also I still, 62% of students did say they preferred a semester. and I agree it's important to give students meaningful choice in their schedule. However, these questions were asked of English and ethnic studies, and they were asked in a certain format. So they were asked in a format of completely agree to completely disagree, and they were statements. That question broke the format of the survey. So I don't know actually what to do with it because it's not actually, it does not follow the format of the survey. If it had said, I would like, ethnic studies to be a semester, and then another question was, I want ethnic studies to be a year, and then completely agree or disagree, and English the same, then I would know if students want more flexibility in their schedules, if it's about ethnic studies or not. At this point, I'm not sure what to do with that data. What I do know is that, as Esme mentioned, I have specific issues that I'm concerned about. The first is student mental health, deeper understanding connection, A through G completion, and AP readiness, and helping students focus their time on improving student outcomes. As May has mentioned, teachers have spent a large amount of time on the ethnic studies curriculum, and they said this also tonight. I think their time is best spent continuing that work. If there are problematic issues that need to be resolved, then those need to be, we need to use district data to guide improvements. But our district data does not show, our Hanover survey actually shows that students felt free to express their opinions in the class. In fact, the Hanover research survey shows where the course is strong and where to focus next. Students rated their academic skills, reading, writing, and curriculum and critical thinking similarly in ethnic studies and English. So showing the course develops the skills expected at the high school level. At the same time, only 45% of students agreed that ethnic studies was challenging, compared with 67% in English 9. And they reported a higher homework load. Now, some people will say, well, the course should be challenging. I question that because many students and their own newspapers have said that too much homework is a major source of stress. So ethnic studies supports students' mental health. We've heard that from students who spoke tonight in their continued academic growth by giving them space to strengthen key skills without the excessive workload that contributes to stress. The survey also found that students in ethnic studies felt less connected to peers than in English. Now, connection is a stated aim of ethnic studies, and teachers said a year-long structure gives students more time to build those relationships and feel connected to those peers. That sense of connection supports students' confidence and engagement, especially for those who have felt historically unseen in traditional curricula, which we heard from students tonight. A sense of belonging is correlated with mental health and academic engagement, and is one of the metrics that we are measuring as a school. So I'd like teachers to spend more time helping our diverse group of students connect. The foundation is already there. 62% of freshmen said they felt more understanding of others, and teachers can build on that to develop inclusion and connection. Now, 25% of our students are Latino, and Latino students and families and LPO have told us that ethnic studies helps them learn their own history, build confidence, and feel more academically empowered. I take that very seriously because only 52% of our Latino students graduate meeting A through G requirements. And I believe this course is how we're closing that gap. Students have come here and said that they found their voice, they felt seen, and they're taking AP classes. That is academic success. So for me, option A maintains the structure that supports A through G completion, AP readiness, student mental health, and deeper understanding connection. It builds on what's working and keeps our focus where it belongs on improving the class and preparing every student for success.
All I can say at this point is ugh, because I can actually see both sides really easily. And I feel like we're a Hatfields and McCoys. You know, did any of you older people know who those guys were in cowboy time or whatever? Huh?
Appalachia.
Appalachia. I just read another book about Appalachia. How come I didn't remember that? But anyway, yeah, I think there's, so the problem is I really almost could flip a coin. But because I really do believe in the class, I really do think it's important. I really think that it could be aligned better between all the different teachers. I was going to look up how many teachers teach it at each school. And, you know, course meetings and so on. I think that it can be revised in the areas people don't appreciate as much. And for instance, the wheel of power, if that's a problematic, we can rearrange curriculum around that and so on. So that can work too. On the other hand, if you will, and you know, people say maybe a compromise position is not a good position because you compromise to the point that it's worse than it was before. But one semester, we could distill it to, we already decided, by the way, we are having at least one semester. We could distill it down to the highest priority parts that we're, we want to present in ethnic studies that, and if you want to refer to the critical thinking and, excuse me, morality and all these sort of things, look at the graduate profile behind you on the wall. In addition to the actual content of, for instance, I don't know, Chinese immigration to the United States or Black history or whichever topic that you're covering. That's the factual content in relationship to identity. But then we're also trying to instill these things. And as Dr. Yick said, having the reading, writing, and critical thinking. However, from the other side there, we also have the whole English class that we also surveyed. And in theory, they are teaching reading, writing, and critical thinking in that class too. So we're certainly not going to eliminate all the classes that do this. So we would still have 1.5 classes that do those sort of things, not to mention every single class in our curriculum should be doing that. Excuse me, I think I need another mint now. So there's that. So really, I'm honestly in a conundrum about which way should go, because we basically have the Hatfuls on one side and the McCoys on the other that are completely 180 out. I'm a math person, 180 out of phase. And so I think what we need to have is the compromise. And unfortunately, from the point of view of the social studies department, I probably would have to lean on C1. Excuse me. But I do have some more questions though.
Before
No,
do a vote?
no, I guess not.
No, you can't.
I can't talk. Well, I'd like to try to do it all the problem is with C1 is I want to see the follow-on. I want to see what other social studies classes we might, it says we're not going to require another social studies class, but what other social studies classes, like one semester, might we offer? Like Mr. Volta, there's one that we used to teach called what?
One of the courses that we used to teach was contemporary world issues. And then we would ask other social studies teachers to possibly create other social studies electives if people wanted to
Yeah,
take.
because that's another question I'd like to pose is I don't really want to, you mentioned FTE, Alex, but I would like to see the social studies department remain intact because they are a really strong, good department and I don't want to lose any of them. So, I would
think
like to,
option C1 though, Catherine, because it's not required. For example, you could take ethnic studies and then health. Like it wouldn't necessarily be a social studies course, or it doesn't have to be.
I know, but we could offer another year class of social studies that student, for instance, I mean, and we didn't want to address both at the same time, but for instance, I think we should offer the same things at both schools. And so we're offering geography, history through geography at Los Altos, but not at Mountain View.
Yeah.
And we're offering AP World Studies at Mountain View, but not. But we're, okay. That one.
By the way.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, I would, sorry.
Public needs to be quiet. So this is, hold on, Catherine, this is a discussion for the board and the board alone. So we need the public to be quiet so we can do the board's business. If you have questions, Catherine, let's ask them of Mr. Volta.
Yeah. So, I would like to see, I think, Nicole, a couple meetings ago said, what do we want students to know? I would love to know more about history through geography. I think that's fascinating and important, but maybe not everybody wants to learn it that way. Some people might want to learn it as just plain world studies. Some people might, but by the way, world studies doesn't cover the whole world and all time periods. I forget what period it covers, but I would like to see both offered at both. So I would like to expand the social studies offering at the other school so that we backfill the staffing with some other social studies classes or offer contemporary issues or whatever. So, and that's the problem with picking anything but A is that we don't kind of have that. And I'd kind of like to have an addendum or whatever that says, but we will have another social studies class, or we will make sure we have social studies classes for the social studies teachers, because I think we need to address health too, but I think we should do that separately. Because I don't want, we have so many different decisions and some of them, they're like a house of cards. They have to all stand up together, but we don't want them all falling down at once. But we don't want to stack things on top of each other so that we're locked. We want to design, not to preclude. It's a computer design thing. So I would probably prefer to have C1 have ethnic studies, but then ensure we have other social studies classes that will address some of the students' other issues, or maybe even ethnic studies part 2 for people that really want to continue on.
So one thing I didn't say, which I should have said in my earlier comments, was that the teacher said that a year-long foundational 9th grade, heterogeneous 9th grade was important in their presentation and prepared students best for AP readiness. So I think C2 does do that if you mandate another social studies course. But I do still share Esme's concerns about how we're going to then, we're not really going to be asking the social studies teachers to cut the class to one semester, but then also create another semester course. And my concern is that students have a class that is a high quality class, and we spent as you know, you were actually here before me,
Mhm.
spent a lot of time developing this class. So my concern is the timeline of that, if we were to move to C2 and how we would maintain making sure that the success that we currently have with that foundational year of social studies.
I'd like to make a comment. So actually, I wanted to respond to Catherine. I have a very similar desire to maintain neutral FTE staffing and figure out options with C1 to make sure that we retain all of our amazing teachers. And the idea I actually had is very much along what Catherine just mentioned. And it's about expanding human geography as an additional social studies elective. We can offer it at both schools. We can open it to ninth grade and still make sure that folks take world history and just make access to human geography much wider without making it a world history requirement. And I think that will help our teachers to sort of continue to teach very similar courses, social studies, etc. It can still fit with option C1. And so in my mind, that's sort of the direction that I'm thinking about, that it's C1, but we figure out how to maintain FTE staffing neutral.
So I'm not sure I'm understanding because would you say, because C1, it doesn't say if the additional semester is mandated. And so for me, I'm more about student outcomes that, I mean, I agree teachers want to keep their jobs, but for me, it's about student outcomes. And what social studies teachers told us was that a heterogeneous year-long class, which they've had for a long time, is what prepares them for AP classes and world studies, which is now a 10th grade, which is actually has always been a 10th grade class. So I think that needs to remain 10th grade to be aligned with all the other schools. Colleges expect that class to be
Human
10th
geography
grade.
is actually taken in ninth grade in many, many districts. I'm not talking about world history. I'm talking about
Okay.
human geography.
All right.
Yeah.
So, but I'm still
Just one thing
asking-
though, logistically, I think, which is maybe part of what you're saying, Theta, C1, there's not a mandate for like a second semester of anything.
It
And
keeps
so
open.
you rely on whatever students sign up for, which doesn't guarantee like an FTE.
Yeah, so that's why.
Even if you do offer more.
Yeah,
like,
so
if
that's
they want-
my concern is what the teachers told us is they wanted they talked about the importance of the heterogeneous year-long class to build AP readiness.
Well, I already
Can I?
agreed with that too, except I just said English also does that. So now we have 3 instead of 4 semesters that are doing this. And I mean, that's less semesters doing that, but that should be being done in every single class anyway. And then any other class we put in with that, or people take in addition to that class, their freshman year. Could work.
Okay. Well, I think there are more pathways to take social studies AP, and I also heard the comment from the teacher that Mountain View High School won an award for its AP completion, and social studies got a specific mention. So I do think that there's data to show that their AP readiness and AP completion, and actually we have increased A through G completion and AP completion, among our different groups. So and the only study we have is a Stanford study, which studied San Francisco Unified and showed in students with a 2.0 GPA or less that they had increases in GPA and A through G completion. And so it is, so we do have that study. I think for us, we don't, I agree with Esme that we don't have, we have had the class now for 2 years. So it's not, we can't say we have a longitudinal study of year-long ethnic studies as this Stanford study is.
Vadim had, I think, some comments, and then I think there is a motion on the table.
Yeah, I think we should vote. I just wanted to add some personal experience. When I look at these available courses that could be possible that we offer, I went to school in Soviet Union. I took 2 years of geography, world geography. It's not one semester, 2 years. I could tell you what the weather pattern was in every single country in the world because of a guy I took it from. He was a man who went through World War II, who taught in my school for like 50 years, who taught parents of my parents, that generation, including me. It's an amazing opportunity. We have none of that. If I see it on the list as a one semester, I'd love for that to be an option. Kids will take it. So when I talk about FTE, oh, and by the way, intro to psychology, I had no idea what psychology was because that's something that Russian system didn't care about. Or biology, by the way, right? So it just like shows you complete like different balance of what the system prioritized. Options is what makes education great. C1 is the only option on the table that gives students a choice. If they choose to take health, it will cover FTE, just different teachers, or teachers need to adapt. But that is a cost of supporting our students' growth. Teach what students would like to take, and they will benefit from it. And maybe we'll have to split some teachers. Somebody is going to teach geography, somebody is going to teach health, somebody is going to teach psychology or sociology. Whatever it may be, you will give students that introductory opportunity that they can explore furthermore in community classes, even when they're in high school. It'll be an amazing experience. And also, we've heard a different opinion about AP that I wanted to make sure we don't forget, that removal of world history actually made it more difficult for students to be prepared for taking AP classes. So it's not a slam dunk that ethnic studies actually support success of the students. The Stanford study, actually studied the Stanford study. I looked at the data. It was based on 60 students. There is a study that invalidates it. It was not repeatable. It raises GPA by 1.4 points. There is no data at MVLA even that shows that students have increased the GPA by 1.4 points. It just doesn't exist. While the data for math shows a clear pattern that we can offer additional support. That optional course that C1 can, like in that semester availability, could be a math preparedness class for somebody who starts in 9th grade taking algebra, basic algebra, and struggles with it. There is very little future for a kid who struggles with basic algebra if they realize that in the first semester that they're not doing well. They can take that second semester, whatever course it might be, to improve their algebra, figure out how to deal with their math so that they can actually be successful in the next 3 years. So again, just consider those as options that the community can choose from.
A couple more things that I think actually either option, A or C1. I'm curious to the social studies staff. I understand from the people that voted for it in the Assembly and the Senate when they originally passed it in Sacramento and everything. One of the books that they referenced was Teaching Strategies for Ethnic Studies by a person named James Bank. Did you guys all read that book at some point? You know about that one? Anyway, and then also I'm curious that in either case, we would want to look at the curriculums of all the other ones that, albeit they all are semesters all around here, not that we want to substitute ours for them because we already like either our whole one or our one pared down to a semester. But there's no harm in doing a comparative analysis of all the other people. So
I think we should vote.
Let's vote.
yeah, you want to vote?
I think you had one more comment, or did you have one more comment? Did you? Dita?
Yeah, I mean, I
and-
just think, I think we as a board, I mean, I appreciate sort of the collaborative nature of our discussion. We as a board have always had collaboration. I think this is a very difficult decision. I think I myself have I kind of agree with you. It is I wouldn't put it quite so, because I think there's a spectrum of opinions, but we've certainly heard a lot of opinions.
You don't think we're the hat bells?
We aren't, no. So I just want to thank everyone who spoke. I know that it comes from genuine feeling. And I also want to thank my fellow board members for, really considering this very carefully. This is a very difficult decision. at least for me, while, I spent a lot of time like thinking about the points I was going to make before I came here, based on what I have heard from the community for months, actually years now. So I just want you to know that whether we just choose A or C2, I hear that there are concerns about ethnic studies, and we're going to be looking at those and addressing those, because I think some of what I've heard the course does need to focus on connection and community, and those are actually the aims of the class. So that's all I wanted to say.
The last thing I'll just say is that 2 points. I don't disagree with you, Vadim. I actually agree a lot about options. I think the challenge I have is that ethnic studies is not a course that is often offered at the high school level. It's typically offered in college, and the challenge I've seen time and time again is that many students of color, if they make college, they will have access to that level of coursework and so I see a huge opportunity for them to get front and center in front of that kind of coursework as early as freshman year. Something I wish I would have had. So I wanted to make that point. And then the second is, I don't want us to belittle the amount of work and probably more board time this will take if we move to C1.
I know.
And so it's additional resources, time, considering that the board also has a lot of other work that we need to get to. So
I do want to recognize, as you guys did, the work that has gone into all of this. I know that it's a passion, an innovation, a devotion, and everything on it. And revising it, in any case, even if it was still a whole year class, would be more work. So, and I won't say sorry exactly, but I feel I feel the amount of work that you would need to do, but yeah. So I appreciate you all for what you've done in the past, and I appreciate actually the entire staff at both of our high schools for all the work they always do. That's why we're rated number one. We're number one. We need those little
Badges.
no, we need those foam hands.
Oh.
okay, so there's a motion.
Yeah.
I think I heard Alex, you moved for C1, Vadim, you seconded. So all in favor of adopting option C1, raise your hand, say aye.
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 Okay. All those opposed? 2 of us. No abstentions. So vote 3
I might have
for option C1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So that moves us on to board operations. Board suggestions for future board meetings. 13.1, any?
Yeah, I just wanted to remind the public that we actually have health as other leaving, so they can't hear, but those for the recording, we actually have health as a topic. Right?
Already as a
Yes,
discussing.
so we're already going to discuss that.
You want that as a study session in addition to the material that I gave you, or do you want Terry just to work on it?
The material you sent last Friday.
The
Okay.
material I sent you is exactly what Terry would be reporting on, so I don't know that we need another.
I reviewed all of it.
I don't know that we need another study session on it.
I guess the question is, what's our next steps?
Yeah, I think we haven't decided on what our next steps
Well,
are.
Given,
Now that we have a
given
decision on
the,
this.
given the vote,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the only thing that you would do is weigh whether or not you would allow, whether or not you want to not allow health to be taken online like other core classes that we have. That would be the discussion that we would go to.
Right, and I think there seems to be at least community calls for us to discuss that, I think. And I mean, if others don't agree that we shouldn't discuss it, but I think it's worth
I would
discussing.
advise that you don't start discussing whether or not you limit parents' choice to allow their kids to take health online for a while.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I think we do need to have a different online class that does satisfy the criteria the state has for a health class.
I thought the class
could
we had
investigate
did
that.
satisfy the requirements of the
So,
state.
yeah.
I want to be clear. I thought the class we have online already satisfies the state requirements.
That is not how I understood the material.
That's not what they said at the last meeting.
Yeah.
There are a couple items that need to be shored up or taught in our other classes if a student takes it on Edgenuity.
Okay. Well, that I think is a problem that needs to be addressed. So
Any other topics?
I want to discuss, I think we need to give the social studies department time to think about this list that Eric gave us or other choices for social studies. And like I said, I would like to see us have a vote on adding geography here and adding the other thing.
That's
over-
more about the course offerings though, right? Not any like
Yeah.
high school graduation mandates, right? Because we already voted.
A little
for-
bit. So one, I guess the way I was thinking about it is expanding human geography into both high schools, making it an elective you can take in ninth grade as well. And at the same time, not count it as a world history requirement. So world history classes, and then you have a lot of options at any high school, at any
No.
to take human geography.
See, now I don't agree on that.
Again, I think it's about offering the course, right? It's not about like mandating anything. I think the history department needs to determine how they're gonna handle
yeah,
based off our decision today.
yeah, I thought we agreed. I thought C1, because I asked, C1 was not mandating a particular class. So I believe at that point, it's up to the social studies department to present courses that they want us to approve. Is that correct, Mr. Volta?
The usual process is that schools will bring courses that they want to introduce to the board for board approval. I have not yet seen it where the board mandates the schools to create courses unless the graduation requirements change. So that would be up to the individual schools to create electives that might go along with the semester of ethnic studies. However, we know that most students will choose health.
Exactly.
But
and
the
do
one question is clarify is Mr. Volta, it's not necessarily that everyone will take ethnic studies first semester. Some will take it first semester and some will take it second semester to load level or what?
That
Your
is
schedule question.
that is correct. In building a master schedule, you'll have ethnic studies teachers, you'll have social studies elective teachers perhaps, and you'll have health teachers, and you won't be able to dictate when ethnic studies is taught, whether it's first or second semester with the vote that you just made. With the vote that you just made, we will also have to clarify whether or not ethnic studies is a semester-long course and for what graduation year and how do we
Well,
want to
we
change.
just did say it was a semester class course. C1 is.
It was not a semester. So does that start with this year's junior class? Do you revert back to the class of 2027 or do you start with the class or this year's freshman class or do you start with next year's class?
Well, this year is already in progress. Too late for this year.
But as a graduation requirement.
Right. So it'd have to be starting with.
So is that
class.
a
Yeah,
future
so-
board topic if you just?
So this is.
We will bring the board policy next meeting
Need to
and
update it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we need to update the board policy to 35 credits. And,
beginning when?
oh, good
Is what
question.
the question is.
That's
So let's discuss it in the next meeting. One of the concerns I have, if we do it this year, For example, like change the graduation requirement. We obviously the kids who are taking ethnic studies right now will finish the whole year. I don't see them just dropping after this semester, right? They will have less opportunity to take the elective because we don't want to just give 5 credits away, right? We want to put that 5 credits towards the electives, and hopefully they will take some of these electives as a part of their 9th grade. So these kids that are freshmen today are not going to have that opportunity.
No.
It's just thoughts, but we definitely need to modify our graduation requirement policy. So we don't
bring back.
remember how we left it unmodified last time. Like I don't want that.
Yeah, we need to update board policy.
Yeah.
I think we also at that time need to discuss what makes sense in terms of producing a high quality class for ethnic studies. So that is my main concern, right? And I think everyone wants to have a high quality ethnic
Well,
studies
and
class.
we already do. And now we will still have one. We will just have one that is pared down with the highest priority data or content.
Right, but sorry, I was still speaking. The question is how long that will take the social studies department to do. Right, I mean, that is a question that they will need to tell us how long it will take. They said it would take a long time, but that is not a number.
Well, it'll take,
Until
they have until next school year.
They have until August next year.
Which is why we wanted it.
Yeah, this is why.
That's why we wanted to
changed
vote now, so they have a
Yeah.
whole
That's the timing Eric suggested.
3/4 of a
during
year
the
to
so
work
we
on it.
followed
Okay, well, I just want to clarify that that's what we're doing because
Yes, ethnic studies is a semester course now. And
And-
the way, just now that it's voted and done, the way that the process will work is you've made a decision. Freshmen will be required to take a semester of ethnic studies and then a semester of something else. In terms of staffing, we will rely on our course registrations. That'll dictate what our staffing needs will be for next year. It may be that we are overstaffed in certain areas. We either fund our staffing to accommodate those overstaffing. We see if social studies teachers are willing to teach health on a provisionary permit until they get their health credential, or potentially students will take other social studies classes, but that will dictate the staffing more than anything else. In the meantime, human resources will prepare for a staffing adjustment that needs to be made. Because if more students take health, then we will need to hire more health teachers.
If the social studies teachers don't want to take over, yeah.
Okay.
Let's-
So we need to update board policy. We'll bring that. Can we move on to communications?
Are there any?
Any? Do we have any? No?
Nope.
Okay. Any legislative update?
Legislature's on recess.
Our next board meeting, November 17th, here in the boardroom. We do not need to resume closed session.
Didn't do it like the first time, so I just wanted to have on record what we were doing. This last time we didn't.
We're gonna bring that. We're gonna bring that.
Like, we're doing it this time the right way, right? So we know, everyone knows what's